Again, just like last time, it helps if I fucking turn the mics on so you can hear when I start talking. But, and we're late, of course, but it's all good because it is a Pantsless podcast, and our kind of trademark at this point is that something goes wrong, or we're late, or just, I mean, shit's on fire sometimes, and it's all good because it's part of our thing. Anyway, welcome everybody. With me here today is the most esteemed group of people ever to grace all of us with their presence. We got Gradigi.
I'm a young Santa Claus.
Exactly. We got Trevor.
Hello.
And we got North.
Heyo.
But wait a minute. Who's this one dude in the middle? Because I thought this podcast was only with 4 people. We have been invaded. But jokes aside though, let's all welcome Dan Carn to the podcast. He's not our first official guest since Sully has been here, but he is the first 5th on the podcast. So a golf clap for that, please.
Welcome.
Is this when I golf clap too?
I mean, you can golf clap for yourself. That's fine. And before we get to like the official business, there's a couple of other golf claps we need to do. The first one is a biggie for us. 1 year. We've done this for 1 year.
1 year.
Every single month. I can't believe it. We actually did it. And I'm so proud.
Has it really been that long? Holy.
I'm so proud of us.
Yeah, that's actually super hype for me. That's exciting that like we were able to do this for a year. And North was the only one who abandoned us heartlessly, so that was pretty nice.
Yeah. I mean, it was this close. He couldn't come back because I was like, nah, traitors are not welcome. But another golf clap would be end of the year and end of the decade.
I'll drink to that.
Okay.
And I want to say that because before we still get to the official business, what did you guys do 10 years ago? Because none of us knew each other 10 years ago. Where were you 10 years ago in your life and in gaming in general?
Well, 10 years ago, I think I was playing like pre-alpha or alpha Minecraft or something like that. I don't know. Like I was back in like way back. Oh, I can't even like think about that. Like I don't know. It's so long.
I want to say 10 years ago, I was still neck deep in my WoW addiction. That was like the crux of my WoW addiction. I was still in college, so I had a lot of free time and was pretty crafty by sneaking it into work at my IT job at the college. I was still in the middle of that. So that's pretty much it, unfortunately.
I think 10 years ago, I'd been in the military for maybe a year, so I wasn't really playing any games at all. I was just doing military stuff and drinking a lot.
That was covered by military stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to school full time and working full time, and I had just moved to like halfway across the country. So gaming I didn't get a lot of it in, but when I did, it was that shot of heroin of WoW. So I mean,
finally, you're welcome.
I just I had to admit it too. I got my coins around here somewhere.
Yeah, 10 years
I had to
ago.
get my coin back with Classic, so it didn't work.
Yeah, exactly. 10 years ago, I enrolled in the military. I think I enrolled the 7th of January 2010. Spent 6 months and got discharged along with my fellow brothers. We never went to war, as none of us do. Military is just mandatory for us. Either that or we do civil service. If we don't do either of those, then we go to prison.
Is it 6 months minimum? Then
Yeah.
you get discharged? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's 6, 9, or 12. And yeah, like obviously I didn't get a whole lot of gaming. I was also with my then girlfriend at the time, so I was mostly interested in fornicating with her and drinking with my buddies and thinking about anything else than the military. And that was my top priorities. But I know I played Mass Effect 2 that year because I think it came out 2010, and I remember playing it very, very close to release. That was still when I was super deep into buying my games off of Pirate Bay because they were super cheap over there.
Yeah. No return policy though. Weird.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was weird stuff, man. But yeah, that's what I was doing. And now we're here, old and brittled.
Yeah.
I haven't changed at all. I look the same that I looked 10 years ago.
Yeah, you'll get that growth spurt.
Yeah, someday.
Just one day, North, you're gonna look in the mirror and you're gonna be like, "Fuck, I'm old," and then
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's the end of it.
Hopefully, I'll have as majestic beard as you have right there.
Maybe I'll send you some in the mail. Maybe you can like transplant it.
Oh, that sounds good.
But yeah, so what is this episode though? I mean, end of the decade, end of the year, and I said last month that we're gonna do our own Game Awards show, which this is not really it. It's kind of like that in a sense. We are going to talk about this year as a whole, and of our favorite games, and also about the big oopsies of the game industry. But other than that, this is just a general conversation of this entire year. But we're gonna start with something special, and I believe it was our first episode. You can correct me, guys, if I'm wrong, but we talked about a very special man on this podcast.
It's a very
And-
important story.
It was.
Yeah. It shaped the year.
It did. It certainly did.
You know, I wasn't even here with the podcast, and it shaped my life. Like
That's what I'm saying.
that's how big it is.
I take back what I said a minute ago. 10 years ago, I was thinking about this story.
Oh shit.
Because I knew it was coming.
I knew it was coming. I could feel it.
That's
What's
how big
bad
it was.
is 10 years ago was probably when this person was actually relevant.
Yeah.
Maybe
Exactly.
longer ago than that.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's not even a joke.
Yeah, I know. 10 years ago, that's pretty right on it.
So who are we talking about? We're talking about, of course, about Soulja Boy, the one and only. And I'm gonna quote this because I found this in an article. I have it still up here. So, just a part of this sentence: Soulja Boy's paradise was clogged with the trouble when the crank that visionary got sentenced to a little bit of prison, which I'm going to touch upon soon. But I find the word visionary like just kind of too good at this point.
I mean, I don't know where we'd be today without him.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean,
We would have never
yeah,
cranked any.
that is. But this is a yearly update on Soulja Boy because we haven't talked about Soulja Boy in a while. So, North, since I've kind of appointed you as the Soulja Boy connoisseur at this point, what has Soulja Boy been up to?
Well, he got sentenced to go to prison for like 8 months, but he only served like 3 months. And he got out because of apparently good behavior, and all the prisons were full, so they needed some room. So he got out after 3 months. But while he was at the prison, one of his buddies recorded a video to him, like talk to him. He was talking out of prison on phone, and he said that he was gonna have the biggest comeback of the year, like 2019, and he was gonna have a new album and a new movie coming out. But since he got released from prison, there hasn't been any updates on that. So I don't know. Maybe he's gonna have like less than 2 weeks left. So
Yeah.
he's
These
gonna
next
get that album and movie out.
yeah, these 2 weeks are gonna be fire, dude.
Yeah. The biggest comeback of the year.
I mean,
Yeah.
boom. I know what I'm doing Christmas Day. See that movie, picking up that soundtrack.
Turns out making movies and music ain't that easy. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Who
You
knew?
got to play them side by side, or it doesn't work. It syncs up, kind of like Wizard of Oz and Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. You got to crank that at the exact moment.
You have to crank it together. You have to crank them.
I'm just hoping it comes out with Soulja Boy's Christmas Vacation.
It's gonna be dope.
Fucking Soulja Boy.
I
I'm just
did
mad.
check his. Go ahead, Dan.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm just mad I couldn't pre-order it earlier this year.
I did check his Twitter page in anticipation of the episode. I'm pretty sure he hasn't tweeted since he went to prison. The
Cool.
last thing on there is from like April 11th. So, R.I.P. social media for Soulja Boy.
He got sent to prison because of a probation violation. He originally at some point he got sent charged with possession of a firearm in public, and then he violated that probation by having a firearm at his home. And then at some point he violated that same probation again, I think, with another firearm. So in my mind, Soulja Boy is the victim here. He's a proud American, rightfully exercising his Second Amendment, and the government is shitting on him.
I mean, these firearms just keep coming to him. I mean, how would you like to be a firearm in the store and everybody just passing you up because they're like, oh, you got to wait 14 days before you take me home and whatnot. And then you see this guy coming in there. He cranks out that wallet, puts that money down on the table, grabs the gun, and you know what? Your life was complete at that moment. And you know what? You can't hate the player, right?
Mm-hmm.
The government's just trying to keep him down because they know he's gonna start a revolution whenever he finally drops that new album.
He's gonna crank that.
He is gonna crank the U.S.
Never mind.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stop myself before. Yeah, we'll stop.
But I'm certainly looking forward to Soulja Boy in 2020 and that movie and soundtrack. And I promise, chat and YouTube, those who are watching on YouTube, I will play Soulja Boy's new music on this podcast when it releases. And I'll even shoot ye old Soulja a tweet being like, "What up, homie? I'm gonna promote your shit. Send me some merch, please."
Excuse me, Mr. Boy, can I use your music?
Yeah.
You gotta do it in the
Mr. Boy.
the most widest way possible.
Exactly.
Can you send me a demo, a console, so that I can play some games? Because I heard that you're really good at them.
Man, I wish I had been able to get my hands on those before they were taken down.
Oh man, dude, that's probably going to be like a collector's item and be worth a hell of a lot of money. For some reason, you know what I mean?
I hope so.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, obviously it would be regardless, even if it didn't get pulled. But I mean, even more so now.
Yeah.
See, originally when North, I didn't look into it at all. North just said that he's been into prison. I thought he went to prison because of the copyright infringement of the console. And then it just turns out to be some firearms violations. And I'm like, that's a fucking bummer.
Does that mean that the copyright stuff is still up in the air?
I think he just was hands off, and was like, "All right, Nintendo, you win."
Yeah, it's probably like a cease and desist is what it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah,
And then,
most likely.
and any dollar that was earned, that he probably had to immediately forfeit it. Would be my guess.
Yeah, I mean that sounds reasonable. I mean he did violate a massive amounts of copyrights.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
What a player!
Basically all of
Holy
them.
shit! But okay. Whew. What are we gonna talk about now? Is that the episode? We did the Soulja Boy bit,
Yeah.
and now we're like, is it done?
That's about it.
Well, I thought we were doing chronologically what happened to him every year since. You know,
Oh.
That makes sense.
welcome to the
Oh.
Crank That podcast.
Exactly. What
Yeah,
we
let's
can
just-
though, before we go, we could discuss our top 3 games of the decade.
So
This was tough.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of good games in the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
you know, I didn't even really like. If you would have asked me, before you asked me about to to think about like the the top 3 games of the decade, I would have been like, I can't really think of any. And then once I actually pulled up like a compendium of, okay, here's like a ton of games that came up this last 10 years, like, holy crap, like there's just so many damn games that came out in this last 10 years that, I mean, 3 is tough.
Yeah. I don't know that I would even say that these are truly the top 3 of the last decade. These are just the ones that stuck out. Like there might be some that I am totally forgetting that I just played the
Yeah.
crap out of, but these are the ones that like I feel like they influenced my taste in games in some way. Like that's kind of more of what it is for me anyway.
Yeah, for me is I thought about how they influence like the industry as a whole. And I mean I like all 3 of the games too. I played all 3 of them extensively, but nonetheless that was what I was thinking of, like just overall impact, I guess you could say.
Well, shit. Let's all like go in a circle and name like one game at a time until we complete 3 circles. Anyone can start.
Dan, if you want to start since you're the guest?
Yeah.
Sure. I'm gonna take a cop out here. But just because everything in its mom's been related to it since it came out, I'm gonna say that the Dark Souls really just kind of influenced, just kind of overall gaming. I mean, God, I'm so tired of hearing it's the Dark Souls of, Scrabble or whatever. Like everything is the Dark Souls of something. But obviously it's that way because it's a great series, and it took the formula that Demon Souls put out and that did it better, and put it in a more just manageable, I guess more manageable way for more people to kind of resonate with, even though Demon Souls, is awesome too. So nobody says this is like Demon Souls. Nobody says that.
Dark Souls has been like I've watched the game's media a lot the past couple of weeks. Dark Souls has been named at a lot of outlets as the game of the decade, and they cite these same things, that it's been so influential during these past 10 years and like or since it came out. And they do like mention Demon Souls, but they name Dark Souls as the true first Souls-like game, and that its impact has been way more massive than anybody would have ever expected.
Yeah. And I think because it was like one of the big things is that it wasn't an exclusive, because you could get it on PC as well as PlayStation, and I think that made it I think that had a big impact as to why it was so impactful, I guess you could say, because since Demon Souls was only available on the PS3, that really limited the amount it could get that exposure and stuff. And once it, you get something that's on multiple platforms, you obviously have better opportunity for it to, like blow up, or however you want to say it.
I'm gonna go ahead and chime in on this one too, because this is actually on my list as well.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, for all those reasons, I think it is definitely one of the most influential games of the decade. Mostly because I feel, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like this made the game industry realize that people still like those like roguelikes, because I feel like it was kind of on the decline and stuff, where you didn't really see any super tough games. And I'm not saying that they were the ones who obviously made tough games popular, but I think it made people realize that people are still out there ready to get mad at a game and still play it all day.
Yeah.
And I think it definitely influenced more than just like 3D platformers, action adventures, and things like that, for sure.
I totally agree with that. Prior to that, you had all the, just a lot of games are just. I mean, even in general, a lot of games are just, they just give you everything. They give you all the tutorials. They give you all the everything to just go through the game. Dark Souls says, here, hop in this. Here's a big ass thing that's gonna whoop your ass, and you're gonna like it. And you know what? They were right. Damn it.
Yeah, I feel like every game leading, or not every game, but the games that could be compared to that prior took a lot from like the original God of War series, where it was just button mashy. I mean, you had those, and you had like Darksiders and a lot of games like that, where you could basically just spam square until you won. And those games are fun, but it's kind of mindless fun. Where with this, I think it kind of introduced people being more purposeful with their button inputs, and you actually have to think about what you're trying to do instead of just alternating squares and X's to jump over arrows and spam them until they die.
Yeah, absolutely. More methodical. It's more of like a dance. It's more of a dance, instead of like just a mash, like you said.
Yeah.
I do agree that Dark Souls it reignited that aspect of gaming that publishers and developers saw, that people want to play difficult games again. After, because I do recognize that too, and I think the indie market like really looked at that, because there's just a shitload of indie games that are just difficult or like demanding from the player, and a lot of those indie games, even though they had nothing in common with Dark Souls except the difficulty, they still got like, oh, this is like Dark Souls levels of difficulty, even though it might be, you might be talking about Spelunky or some shit.
So it is the Dark Souls of roguelikes.
That too, yeah. All right, who's next?
Well, that was me as well. So,
Well, Trevor,
Okay.
you do.
So I did more of a top three for me personally than what I would think would kind of like Dark Souls kind of influenced, the gaming industry. So my first one would be Diablo 3, because I put a lot of hours in that game, and I mean, I probably played that game for years, and I don't know. It's just something about it when a game like Diablo 3, you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over. You can do it for years. I don't know. It just stood out to me as one of my top three that I don't know. Man,
I played Diablo 3 on release.
yeah,
Yeah.
I did too. It's fun.
Hell, I level capped 5 characters in the beta. Like,
Yeah, I played the beta too.
So-
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So
I played the demo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say.
I level capped a couple in Diablo. It's a fun game for sure.
I think one of my favorite parts about Diablo is that they just kept, obviously it wasn't perfect at release, right? To say the
Mhm.
least, but they just kept adding more and more and more, and it eventually got to what we wanted it to be at over that time. And I think, because I get, especially here recently, and Blizzard may not have the best track record going on right now, but I think with something like Diablo 3, being able to see that you have this team that's committed to continuously putting out those updates and everything, like for me, it was one of those games that I kept coming back to. when they would add adventure mode or they would add whatever it was, it would redraw me in. It's kind of like, when that WoW addiction would stop and then they would throw out another expansion. You're like, okay, well, I'll play it a little bit again, or I'll finally do it again. And it's kind of the same thing for me with Diablo 3.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. Is like anytime that I would start faltering away from it, or maybe I didn't pick it up for a month or two or whatever, they'd be like, "Oh, we got a new character coming out," or "Oh, there's we added 2 extra items or something." So I was like, "Oh, I got to go get this items now." Well, and then once you start playing it again, it's like you just get addicted to it again, and then play it for another year. But
Did you ever play laddered, like a ranked Diablo, Trevor?
no, so I did not. When I want to clarify, when I didn't have a PC at the time of Diablo 3 being released, so I played it on PS4. So so I know when the PC version was released that people said that like there were, like you were saying, like a lot of problems with it and things like that, and but and it was one of the few games that I remember that they were saying, like, if you get this game, get it on PlayStation, don't get it on PC, because the PC version is kind of messed up. Yeah.
Yeah, the PC launch was fucking terrible.
Yeah, it was bad.
Like the error 34 thing is still a meme to this day. And I believe it's 34, the launch error, which you couldn't log into the game. And even though like I had a lot of fun with Diablo 3, and I mean I never had a bad time with it. I do remember the auction house being like a super negative thing of the game. I never used the real money auction house, and I believe it never launched, or did it?
Oh, no. Oh, it totally launched.
Oh, it did. I know the auction house launched with like the in-game currency, but did the real money auction house launch?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the real money auction house. It was around for, I want to say, almost like, it was several months. It was like a solid, like, it's something like 4 to 6 months, I believe it was available, and then they took it away. Because I remember putting stuff up on auction, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm gonna quit my job. I'm gonna be Diablo rich, and and that didn't happen.
Did the auction house break the game?
Did it break the game? Well, I mean, it's you look at it, you could even call it like, I mean, people put crap up there for so damn expensive, right? The only people that are going to buy it are going to be the whales. And I think what the auction house really did is it made people look for more ways than just than usual to try to break the game, because you wanted to get as far as possible, because you wanted to get, what legendary gear and stuff, because nobody had it. Because, it's kind of like, it's like starting off in an MMO. If everybody's level 1, that first guy that gets level 60 and gets, whatever, and throws it on the auction house, he determines the economy. And when whales don't know what that's going to be, that option can be, they can put up there. I remember there being like weapons on the real life auction house for like $250 plus for a weapon, like, and think about Diablo 3 now, right? How long do you keep any piece of gear for the most part? It's like, okay, here's $250, but in a week that thing's gone. Yeah. Like, and yeah. So anyways, I remember seeing a ton of that, and I actually had some friends that were purchasing stuff off of the real auction house, like the real money auction house. And yeah.
Oh.
Damn.
Did you ever manage to sell anything on the real life auction house?
No.
Did you get Diablo rich?
I got like goblin poor. They I believe I don't think anybody wanted my like level 30 something normal mode weapons. I think people were more interested in the like hell and nightmare and
yeah.
Well, shit, North. What's your start
my
of
list
this?
My list is just like Trevor's. Like, I don't think about the gaming industry or anything like that. This is like my top list. So my third spot, I have League of Legends, and I chose that game because I played it a lot for like a 5 year. I played that game consistently for 5 years, and that's a long life for a single game, and it's a free game, and I still ended up putting like €1,000 on that game, and like probably around like 4,000 hours on it. And it was always good times, and I still from time to time I go back and see what it's like, but it's it has evolved so much, so it's not the same game that it used to be. But
You
I
feeder.
yeah, I still time to time I want to play that. But yeah, it was definitely a major game in my gaming decade.
I think almost everybody has a League of Legends history.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
played League.
think, yeah.
I have not played a single game of League of Legends.
What?
Any MOBAs?
I played Dota 2 and
Oh, yeah.
I have probably over 8,000 games played in HOTS. Although I
Mm.
haven't played it in like over a month now. But I mean, hell, on my YouTube or whatever, and I'm not trying to promote myself, but I mean, I literally created a video for every single character, like explaining everything for people and junk like that. Like I was taking it serious. I even have a damn coffee mug somewhere.
That's
Damn.
awesome.
Yeah, but so yeah, I totally get the obsession, especially with MOBAs, because it's like that WoW crack, but
Yeah, it's like that.
instead of being stuck for like 3 hours while 39 other dumb shits don't know how to do what their job, you only have to worry about 4 dumb shits, and and it only takes like anywhere between I guess on League it's probably more around like 40-45 minutes or something for one match or whatever that the average is, as opposed to like, okay, I'm just gonna kill my entire night, like you know uh you could just get in one match and be like, go on with the rest of your day.
I think I
Yeah,
played
can.
League for about 3 months, maybe. Then I stopped.
I played it for a few years. Actually, in the WoW downtime, I played it quite a bit in college. And the guys I played with that I went to college with them, we actually had like a 5-man team. And we got like t-shirts made. Pretty
Wow.
sweet. No,
Ah, that's
Wow.
nice.
it was
Took
pretty
it pretty serious there, did you?
Yeah. I mean, it was just like one of those print off iron things, so it looks super shitty, but I still have it somewhere. I'll wear it for the podcast one of these times.
Yeah.
Except it has the wrong name on it. It doesn't say Gratigi, it says Gratigo with an O. Because I made the account and then someone was like, no, dude, you should have let me refer a friend. I'm like, all right, crap. I haven't even played a game yet. I'll make a new account. So my actual League account isn't even my name.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I just noticed that you have Gratigi on the shelf there.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
It's been there for a while.
Yeah, a friend that works for Corning Glass in Corning, New York, made that for me. He actually cut it himself. It was really nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's nice to have friends. I just
Yeah.
wonder what they are.
I wish my friends knew how to do things.
Damn, your friend sounds worthless.
I know, that's what I'm trying to say.
So yeah, I started doing my own list of 3 games. I thought it was simple for me, and 2 games were simple, and then the third game probably switched around 15 times in the past like 4 days. I finally settled on the third game, and it is Hollow Knight. I absolutely fucking love Hollow Knight. It was basically my introduction to Metroidvanias. And I mean, it's sad to say I never played Super Metroid or anything like that. But Hollow Knight was something really, really special to me. And in the way the game works with its atmosphere and map layout and the exploration and you getting lost and bunch of secrets and bunch of bosses, bunch of enemies. It is It's one of my favorite games of all time. Not just this decade, but all time. I absolutely fucking love Hollow Knight. And I cannot goddamn wait for Silk Song to come out, which is the sequel to Hollow Knight. It's just not called Hollow Knight 2, it's called Hollow Knight Silk Song. It's been formally announced, but I hope Team Cherry, who are the developers, that they would please at least next year give it a release date. I don't care if it comes out next year, but I would be really fucking happy to know when it comes out.
Yeah, they aren't. Don't you play as Hornet on that?
Yeah, in Silk Song you play as Hornet.
That's gonna be dope.
It looks super smooth. Because there's like actual gameplay videos that devs let people play, and the movement of Hornet looks like super smooth and fast, which has me at least really excited.
Yeah,
it looks.
It's kind of... Go ahead, Trev.
I was just gonna say, her like, which you could tell when in the first game she's way more agile than the character in the first one. So it just seems like she's gonna have way more fluid movement and more options to get around and stuff like that in the second one, which will be a good change, I think.
I actually didn't like Metroidvanias before playing Hollow Knight. I'd tried like Super Metroid and a few other of them, but I wasn't a really big fan of backtracking because it just seemed like a big waste of time. Like if I'm at this door, just open the door. But but then I played Hollow Knight, and like Hollow Knight does backtracking so well. With like every time you go back, there's something new. It doesn't feel like backtracking. I don't feel like I'm just coming to this door now with a key. I'm coming to this door and plot is here and story is happening. Yeah, Hollow Knight's great. I love that game. It's made me want to go back and play other Metroidvanias for sure.
I actually just played Hollow Knight for the first time this year, like as far as playing it all the way through. I picked it up shortly after release, and I started playing it, and I can't remember, like I have gaming, ADHD. I'm constantly looking at other games and stuff. And I remember starting on Hollow Knight, and for whatever reason, I was dumb and I put it down. And then when I picked it back up earlier this year, I eventually ended up completing the entire thing and got like the good ending or whatever, where you fight the Radiance. And so I did the majority of stuff. I can't definitely not going to say that I 100% everything in it, but there's definitely some things that I thought that they did so well in that game, like that annoyed me at first, and I think it annoyed me in my first playthrough, but then I grew to love it in the second playthrough. Like when you get a map and you don't have the map until you sit down and actually write it down. And it's such a novel idea, like to take it into the perspective of like, if I personally was like walking down the street or something like that, I wouldn't know what I was doing until I wrote it down, right? I wouldn't be able to just have that knowledge all the time in my head. But then I would be able to have like a physical map that I created, or if somebody handed me a map, I don't know what the hell this is until I actually pay attention to it, right? And I've walked in those steps to see on the map that it's accurate or whatever. Anyways, just a little like offshoot or whatever. That's just something that I was thinking of it's so unique. I've never seen a game do anything like that. And it's such a little thing, but it had a really big impact on me when I think about, playing games like Metroidvanias and stuff.
Hollow Knight also has free DLC. All the DLC for Hollow Knight is free. I will say, however, that the base game compared to the DLCs are really bad. And to explain them a little bit, the first DLC, I'm going to talk about the three major DLCs. There is a fourth one, which I don't consider a DLC. The first one is just a boss battle over and over and over again. It's 11 times the same boss battle. It gets gradually more difficult. That's not Hollow Knight for me. The second one is probably, it was way better received by fans, and I don't think it's inherently bad. It's the Crimson Court DLC, which you go to a specific point on the map, and then like in the town there comes a little carnival, and then you go to 3 different locations on the map that are marked on your map. You fight a little monster and you get a thing, and then you fight a boss 2 times. it's again, that's not really Hollow Knight for me. It's not getting lost, it's not exploring, it's not finding secrets. And then the third DLC, which is the last one, Godmaster, is the ultimate fucking insult to why I like Hollow Knight in the first place. It is 5 boss gauntlets, which get increasingly more difficult, and you can make each gauntlet more difficult on you with putting restrictions on you, like having less health, less magic power, less charms or no charms, and stuff like that. You can also fight every individual boss in, like there's a big hall, and all the bosses are there. You have to fight them in their natural habitat first to unlock them in the DLC, but you can fight them there the normal way, and then like a harder way, usually there's spikes somewhere, and then the third way, which is beat them without taking a single hit. That again, that's not Hollow Knight for me. And even though I criticize all the DLCs, I still think that Hollow Knight is one of the greatest games ever made. The base game of Hollow Knight, not necessarily the DLCs. I mean, they add content, and if you like boss battles, then fuck, the DLCs are the greatest thing ever for you. But I mean,
Yeah,
for me,
yeah,
it's
just
like,
to- Just to kind of expand on that, the boss battles are a lot of fun, but they're just not. They're really not why you play Hollow Knight. There's so much more to it than just the boss battles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the exploration and atmosphere to me is that's the number one for me personally, why I like the game, is just, to get that, that little bit of immersion. It just and they did such a good job at crafting that world.
and shit, if you want the hard mode of Hollow Knight, just play Steel Soul, which is a mode in Hollow Knight, which means that it's the permadeath mode. So if you die, that runs over. And I did complete Steel Soul on stream.
Awesome.
Took me a
Yeah,
couple of tries.
I'm a nope on out of that one.
Yeah, I didn't even attempt it.
It might as well not even be in the game to me.
It's actually like not inherently too difficult. The beginning is by far the most difficult part. Once you get like a couple of health notches more, and once you get specific charms, it gets like infinitely more easier, and with the dash and double jump and shit.
I know I would just like not jump at the right time and just immediately fall into like a pit of spikes or something. That's what would kill me.
Yeah, it'd be something super basic. Like it wouldn't even be like this crazy boss fight. It'd just be like just walking on the world and just, oh, I'm dead.
Yeah. I just like set my controller down and then accidentally dash and die. That's what would end up happening to me on
Yeah. Why you don't set your controller down?
just play it until it's done.
Like you just sit there the whole time.
What's Dan's second game?
I'm gonna go with Skyrim. For it's funny. It says actually it is. I coin this a lot when I talk, but I talk about Bethesda syndrome. In that, I haven't beaten almost any Bethesda games because there's too much to do that I get so distracted from the main quest of what it is, like what I'm supposed to be doing. Like for instance, like Fallout 4. Oh yeah, my child's gone. Oh sweet. Did you see that comic book shop over there? I wonder if they've got a weapon. Like, and the next thing I know, I have like 30 plus hours into a game, and then I'm like, man, I should start off as a wizard. And then I'm just like, and then I go all the way back and I start off at the beginning. And, as far as talking about how, obviously Skyrim, impacted video gaming kind of as a whole. Once again, how many damn times has Skyrim come out? Like, it's obvious. It's literally on everything. I think you can get it on a TI 83 Plus now. And it's like
legitimate question. I wonder, like I legitimately have wondered this. Has Skyrim set some sort of record on how many times it's been re-released?
Tetris.
Oh, it's Tetris. Okay.
Tetris
makes way more sense.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was like if that was like number 2. I would not be surprised at all if Skyrim was number 2.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty close. I mean, give it a couple more years and I think Skyrim takes it.
They just don't have more platforms to release it on is the problem.
Don't worry, dude.
It ran out.
Exactly.
The next console generation is coming next year, so we're all good.
Yeah.
We'll
So
get 3 more releases.
so yeah, I would definitely say that because I mean I loved Oblivion, I liked Morrowind, you know, and like I said, it just I love their games. I just don't complete them. I have nothing against them. I just get when there's so many options, none of them seem appealing at a certain point to me. And that's my only, and that's like my personal character flaw, I guess you could say, towards the game in general. But it has all of those things, and there's so many games that could use a quarter of those things and would be great. You know, it's kind of the same thing for me with Breath of the Wild. Same thing. There's a million, 120 shrines or whatever. I'm going to do about 110 of them, and then I'm just going to stop playing the game. Like, that's just the way it goes.
I am in the same boat. I don't even know if it was so long ago because I bought it on release night, and I don't think I've played it since like the month after it came out.
Really?
Yeah, and I dumped like 20 or 30 hours into it and didn't even get to the first village. Like the first place you're supposed to go to actually start the game, like the main. I didn't even get there. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe this isn't the game for me. I played it a little bit more, and I kind of tinkered with like the Mages Guild or whatever. But I'm pretty sure I got like 30 or 40 hours into that game and never actually started the main storyline.
That's the beauty of the game.
That's true.
I mean, it is. It is, and that's. I think that is the kind of the Bethesda syndrome. It's like the complete breaking of the urgency. Like Fallout 4 is probably the worst offender there, where it's like literally your child has been taken. It's like, look at that comic book shop. I wonder if it has a gun over there. And I mean, I think that's all of Bethesda games. I bought Skyrim on release too. Like, and I played the shit out of it. And
that's what I'm saying. It's like I can't say anything bad about the game or the way that they do things. It's just for some reason it's too much. It's too much for me. Like, I just can't do it. You know what I mean? At a certain point, I need that confinement. I need that structure. I think that's why, a lot, I think, especially at the beginning of a game, I think that's probably the more of it. Like, those games usually like immediately go where you want, do what you want to do. Well, okay, I'm going to go around and do all these things, right? But I know this is random, but I was actually talking about this the other day to one of my friends. One thing that I thought would be super cool for them to implement in a game like Skyrim or something like that going forward would be that if you go and you go to that comic book shop and you go to all these things, if other things were happening in the world because you were wasting time, like put a sense of urgency on the player so that they want to do your main quest. Like if the main character is getting stronger because they're going around and they're exploring the world and stuff, have the villain destroying villages, have the villain like becoming stronger so that, like it pull on the heartstrings of the player. Like, you know what, had I not gone to that comic book shop, this other village probably would still be here. They would have had somebody to defend their village. And it would, and I think that's the thing too, is, as gamers in 2019, so many people are afraid of loss. And that's the thing, because they can't experience all of the content all of the time. Well, that's what drives replayability. That allows you to replay the game in a different way than you played it before and have an actual consequence instead of putting 7,000 hours into one file so that you can explore and do absolutely everything. I mean, that's my opinion on it, though.
You definitely have to hand it to Bethesda for making the quests so enjoyable. Like, imagine slaying the dragons. You've slain like hundreds and hundreds of dragons, and every single time it's still satisfying. It's like basically a side mission, and you do it, but you don't feel like this shit again. It's actually enjoyable. Like, I think Tom pointed out when he said he was playing Red Dead 2 that at some point the quests just get way too repetitive and it's not fun anymore. But it's not the case in Skyrim, and that's why it's such a good game. Like how many times you started the game over and over again, and it's still fun to do that same stuff over and over again.
Absolutely. And I 100% agree with you. And conversely, how cool does it sound to walk up a mountain and do absolutely nothing after having slayed thousands of dragons? Like, because that's the main quest versus those side quests.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm done slaying all the dragons in the world, and now I'm going to go climb this mountain and talk to this hermit. Like, that doesn't sound fun at all. I'm going to go find another dragon. Like,
Like, definitely the problem with oh, go ahead, Trevor.
I was gonna say, I like that concept of what you were saying, like what they should implement in the games is like, do I go to the comic book store, and if I do, like this city gets destroyed and stuff. Because basically, what I like about it is, like, as a player, you wouldn't know what the consequence would be.
exactly.
It's not like that game Mass Effect 2 where you have to like make a choice, like, oh, am I going to do this and have this consequence, or do this and do this have this consequence? Like, I just like the idea of you're just playing the game like you normally would, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go in, the ammo shop over here and get ammo because I'm running low. But that's all the way across, the city. And then you get over there, and by the time you get over there and get back, what you were going to use for the ammo has been destroyed now or whatever. Like, I think that's a really great concept that they should implement more.
Yeah, I've really been thinking about, because I was developing an RPG, like developing my own game, and I'm constantly thinking about, okay, what are things that what, like in game design, that I would love to see, and consequence is a huge one. Conversely, I would do something like, hey, have some type of like ammo manufacturing place or something. You go there and you loot all the ammo or something, right? Then you go to a village and they get attacked. Well, now they don't have any ammo because that's where they usually get it from. So now, yeah, you're all decked out and everything, but now that village can't defend themselves, and this village gets wiped out, and you're there watching them get wiped out by raiders or whatever. Be super cool, make the player feel like shit. But the players good but the players, got all this epic loot. So they're happy. They got what they wanted, right?
And permanent saves, so that way you can't go back and fix
Yeah,
it.
of course. Like,
exactly.
no saves coming.
Yeah. I know a buddy of mine is a big fan of Bethesda games. He's played a lot of the Elder Scrolls and a lot of the Fallout stuff, and he's a save scummer. He will get to a point where he's got to make a choice, and he will save, and he will play out that choice. And if that isn't, it doesn't matter whether or not he liked the result. If that wasn't the right choice, then he reloads.
How does he know if it's the right choice, though?
Well, because they're obvious.
Yeah, sometimes
true. Like, there is very like black and white in some games.
Like, does Megaton explode or not? Like,
the last big one was the big choice that I goofed in Outer Worlds. Well, he played through the thing, and he saved right before it, and he saw the superior outcome, and he's like, no, this is the one I want. So that's
Here's a short story about saving. I think it was Mass Effect 2 that I was playing, and I kind of wanted the good ending, like have everyone stay alive. And I got to the ending, and something happened where I messed up my saves, and I only had like 2 save files. And when you get to the end, it tells you like, this is the end, like you better like there's no more saving it, you can't go back. And I was like, all right, that's fine. And anyway, the first choice I made was like, you have to send this person to go over here to do whatever, and if you don't get the right order, they die. So I sent the person over to this area, and immediately got like sniped and shot in the head and died. And I was like, oh, well, I'll just go back to my other save file and reload it. I didn't realize my secondary save file was like 12 hours into the game before.
Oh no.
So I was like, oh, well, I'm uninstalling this game now. I just uninstalled it. I didn't even
right
finish it.
there. You could have seen the end credits, and you chose not to because one choice.
Yep.
I'd rather not beat this game.
Than be known as the guy who made the wrong choice.
Oh my gosh, that's
I knew what I wanted and I couldn't get it. So
So the question is, are you one of those people that, like, if we were to, take a look at like Fallout or something like that and look at your save files, you have like 472 saves because each one's at a different choice that you could have made. And so it's like you can go ahead and choose any of them at any point in the game to choose the opposite like direction.
no, normally I have like maybe 2 or 3 max saves on a single game, but usually if I like mess up and someone dies, normally I don't care, but for some reason with that game I cared. I don't know why. I just wanted everyone to live. And, but
You got attached.
normally I don't really care that much.
Nowadays, you can just Google the endings.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then you don't get the achievement.
Damn.
The real life.
If there's a game where like you have to make a choice and it's like, you might get like you don't know what's going to happen, very rarely will I like Google to see what's going to happen depending on the choice I make. Like if I think like they're going to give you this type of weapon if you make this choice, or this type of weapon if you make this choice, I might Google to see which one will fit my character the best, just so I can make that choice. But other than that, like I don't really try to spoil things for myself and things like that.
They should have like a timer, so you don't get to Google it and see
Yeah.
what
Like
it
a
is.
really scummy one, like 5 seconds. Choose now,
like 5
motherfucker.
seconds.
And if you don't choose, they both die.
Yeah.
I used to save scum a lot, and then at some point I stopped caring. And these days if there's any type of game that requires you to choose things, like I do agree with Dan that most of the time the choices are obvious, unfortunately. But even so, like I make the choices I want to make, and I live with any outcome. I played games where I got the quote unquote bad ending, and I'm disagreeing. I'm like, this game's fucking wrong.
Did you ever play Lisa, the Painful RPG?
No, but I have it.
I was gonna say, have any of you guys played that? Just
Never heard of it.
Sully
So-
played it, and I bought it because Sully played it.
I was gonna say, if you want to play a game that like you make a choice and you're stuck with it, that's the game. I thought when I played through it that it had to have been I guess scripted for all of these events to happen, because I don't want to tell you about it because I want you to be genuinely shocked like when it happens. But no, it's not scripted. It's literally RNG for a lot of the choices of what happens after that choice. So like, and they're very impactful. I'll put it that way. And I'll also put it in another way. Any game where literally you're climbing up a rope for like a solid like 2 minutes up a mountain, and then at the very top is just a hand like this, just and then the game won't let you jump off the cliff to kill yourself, so that you would spawn back at the bottom, and you have to climb back down the rope for 2 minutes. So just to give you an idea of what kind of game we're talking about here.
I do want to play Lisa. It's been on the docket for a long time at this point.
It's amazing. I highly recommend it.
My turn again.
I think it's strategy.
Yeah, whoever.
I'll go ahead and go next since I was kind of after Dan with the Dark Souls thing, just to keep the order. For my number 2, I actually picked Shovel Knight because I fucking love Shovel Knight. I've played a lot of Shovel Knight, and I don't know, it's like I feel like up until then, like all the people who were kind of trying to do like the retro-y Mega Man platformer games hadn't quite hit the head. Like there's plenty of good games up to that point, but none of them quite hit me just right like Shovel Knight did. And I thoroughly enjoyed everything about that game. The soundtrack is awesome. I think the level design is great. And I don't know if it necessarily was influential. I'm sure it was, but it is definitely one of my favorite games of the decade, and probably one of my favorite platformers of all time for sure. Just such a unique design for that game, and even all the bosses and all the levels are pretty different. Not to mention shovel justice
For chivalry.
for chivalry. It's just a blast of a game, and even though it is, the replayability is in the knights that they've added, that King Knight I still need to play, just came out.
Oh yeah, it did.
I haven't played it yet, but I really, really want to, because I think it's going to be a blast. Because that the King Knight level and boss theme are probably my two favorite characters on that, or two favorite songs on that OST. So I just, man, I could gush about Shovel Knight all day. It is just a phenomenal game.
Yeah, you're gonna make me have to resort to my number 4 when it comes back around. I'm just gonna put that out there, because yeah, Shovel Knight was definitely in my top 3. Same way, I played it a ton. I speed ran it for a while. Like, it's just amazing. I actually started just to so you can prepare your body. So I started King of Cards on this last Saturday. I was only gonna play it for about 3 hours. Yep, it turned into an almost 9 hour deal, and I played through it, and I didn't even get like I complete the entire campaign, the story mode, but that's like 1/3 of the content that it provides. It's amazing.
Yeah, I didn't realize you speed ran that. That's pretty awesome, Dan.
Yeah,
Which,
I
do
did.
you just do the base Shovel Knight, or do you do Spectre
Ye-
Knight? Or
Shovel Knight was my favorite to play of the 3. Plague Knight being my least favorite, and then Sphincter Knight being in the second spot.
I really enjoyed the Spectre Knight game. I thought that was a blast, and
Oh,
I
no.
really enjoyed. I
Yeah,
really enjoyed the story to it too. I thought that was really good.
I think that was the biggest thing for me, is that, okay, kind of like you had said, we were talking about like DLCs, or like Tom said, for DLCs for like Hollow Knight, being, I don't know if it's a night thing or whatnot, but with all of these DLCs being free and included with what you've already purchased, and then they just being like, I think that's one of the big differences. Shovel Knight DLCs are phenomenal. Like, they're games in themselves, and as like the way that they kind of interwove the stories in the other 2 campaigns, to where, like, okay, Plague Knight's literally running underneath what Shovel Knight's doing up above on the city, and like just all those little callbacks to the other things, and it's just amazing. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I feel like anytime I call the Shovel or the Spectre Knight and the Plague Knight DLCs DLC, it almost feels unjust, because, like you said, they're not really DLC. It's not like additional content. That is a whole other game you're getting for free. I mean, they
Absolutely.
have just as much playtime as the base Shovel Knight game. I mean, if you get the Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, you're basically getting 4 games for the price of 1 right now.
Yeah, and
It's awesome.
Yeah, they're all better than most of the other games out there. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you get, if I could just buy, if I had to just buy them separately, I still would. Like, even if I had to pay like $10 per DLC, I still would.
it'd be worth it. Yeah.
I do agree that Shovel Knight is an excellent game. And its DLCs
has
are also
Battletoads.
excellent.
Yeah. Have you played the versus thing yet, or the multiplayer mode for it?
I haven't. From what I had random people popping in the stream telling me about it while I was playing through the campaign, but it's basically like Smash Bros, but with Shovel Knight characters, is
That's
what I gathered. And each character has their own 4 moves and stuff, and they didn't like make them any different than what you would see when you actually fought them. So, like, Treasure Knight, he's throwing an anchor, he's massive, he's huge. Polar Knight's humongous. Like, they're They're the same as they were in the game, as far as move sets and stuff. So it sounds like it's crazy. I just haven't had the time.
Yeah.
Too many games, not enough time.
The struggle, the 2019 struggle.
It's real.
Yeah.
So we're done on Shovel Knight.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of like Skyrim, but I would say my second is Fallout 3. Like basically I'm like hearing an echo, so it's kind of
I'm hearing the echo too.
Birds.
Birds.
But anyway, I was talking to Tom about this earlier, and like the thing that I really enjoyed about Fallout 3 was the first Fallout game I played. I never played Fallout 1 or 2. I'd never even heard of Fallout before Fallout 3. And I'm always like, people just have like a genre of things that they enjoy for some reason. Well, post-apocalyptic is just a genre that I enjoy. And whether it be movies or whatnot. And like, so when I heard of Fallout 3 coming out, I was like, oh shit, this is a game about post-apocalyptic stuff with like nuclear zombies and things like that. And I was just so hyped up for it. And I remember when it came out and playing it for the first time, like I was just blown away by it because I had seen Oblivion before that, but I wasn't really too into the game itself, like I don't know, it just wasn't for me, I guess. But the one thing I like about Fallout 3 was the fact that you didn't have to do anything with the story. You could just like you said earlier, Grady, like you could play 40 hours and not even do like the first mission, basically. And like I don't know why, but I love to just scrounge in Fallout. I love to just go in like this dilapidated building and just be like, oh, what's in this cabinet? Oh, papers? Oh, I'll take those. Like I don't know why. I just love it. I love just exploring and picking things up and finding things. And yeah, I don't know. It was a game that I sank many hours in. And unlike Fallout 4, which I enjoy, I haven't beaten it. I've beaten Fallout 3 so many times. I was telling Tom, like, if I had tried back in the day, I probably could have been a good speed runner at the time. Just because I knew where everything was and knew how to do all these tricks and things like that. But it was pretty good. Had a good time.
I want to point out that Trevors cheating. We're talking about games of the decade. Fallout 3 was released October 28th, 2008.
Wow, it's a little cheating.
I'll allow it though.
Nothing too major.
I'll allow it because you can play it on the New Vegas engine too. Have you played the Tale of Two Wastelands?
No, but I've heard
Trevor?
about it.
It's a mod for New Vegas that you play through Fallout 3 on the New Vegas engine, and then at the end of the game, it just goes right into New Vegas. Like it ties the two games together because I guess they happen at the same time, like in the story. But I don't know. I've never played any of the Fallout, so I'm not 100% on that.
I heard the mod is pretty good. Like I imagine though it's between a loading screen when you go like from one zone from the like Fallout 3 zone to the New Vegas zone. But it's still pretty cool that the mod exists because it's the entirety of Fallout 3 apparently in the New Vegas engine. I mean, it's the same engine, but the New Vegas being a tad bit more updated than Fallout 3. Trevor also said in our private conversation that Fallout New Vegas is apparently the most trashiest game ever made. Which, I don't know.
Never mind. I take back my recommendation, Trevor.
Yeah, exactly.
You can just play it in 2008. That's fine.
Yeah, fuck off to the last decade, boy.
Yeah. Probably next thing you're gonna say is that Soulja Boy doesn't deserve his praise.
Oh gosh, don't even.
I'm actually, I'll chime in on the Fallout 3 though. That was the last Bethesda game I did beat. And it's the exact same reason. I didn't play Fallout 1 or 2 until the last couple of years, and it blew my mind away. Like just the way that it was presented and stuff. Like even having played, you know, Oblivion and everything else, like the post-apocalyptic just struck that chord, and it was really good. I mean, looking back on it, it is gray all over the place, like that is like the only color. but the game itself, like it definitely holds a place. I remember, when it came out, I picked it up and I had the flu, and so I'm sitting here like in between, like about to vomit and stuff. I'm like, no, I got to stay up and play this game. Screw rest, like it was super good. And it's very rare that that games do that. So I totally feel you there.
Yeah, I haven't played any Fallout games, so I can't relate to that stuff at all. But if you compare it to Skyrim, I can relate at some level. But I mainly focused on just going with main story, but I never finished the Skyrim main story because they shoved the side quest to your face like, here, watch this. Go check out this place. Go check out that place. How about go kill that guy? Like, oh, fine, I'll do this stuff. And the main quest later. And never
Why you
actually go back there. But yeah, my second place is Battlefield 3. And it's I don't know, like what should I tell you about it? It's a Battlefield game, like any other Battlefield game.
Shoot a lot of people in it.
Yeah,
I played a lot of 3 with my
yeah.
cousin.
I was a huge fan of the second
I was
game,
saying,
and
2 was
I
my
think I
jam.
had one of the DLCs. I think it had like 2 or 3 DLCs
Mhm.
at the end, and I was waiting for like the third one to come for so long, and it finally came out, and I played the crap out of it, and it's so good, and it's such a step up from the second one, which I really like because if you compare to like third to like the fourth one, they're basically the same with a little bit upgraded engine and cooler maps and stuff like that. But because they put out a lot of the maps from the second game, I felt the nostalgia too, even though it was like 5 years between those games. But still, that was the game for me. And I felt I was like semi good at it. And it had horrible balancing issues, in my opinion, at the release. Like some guns were just so much better than any other guns. So you would end up using like some weird gun, and then they would balance it out, and it would be so bad you could not kill anyone with it. But it was so I can't. It's so hard to explain like how you feel about some game that you have played for so many hours with friends and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's just can't really compare to it.
I feel the same way about Battlefield 2.
Yeah,
The friends that I had, like when I think about the game, honestly, the game is the second thought. I think
yeah,
about, okay, I had my buddies, they came over, they literally brought their desktops over, and we had this like little LAN party, and there was
yeah,
pizza and beer and like gaming. And so for me, that's what a game like Battlefield 2 reminds me of, is like those times and those people, and that, like, trying to do a barrel roll in a helicopter,
yeah,
like, like doing shit like that. The game was good because we wouldn't have played it if it wasn't. But
yeah.
it's to me, it's about that brotherhood that was like kind of formed between me and my friends at that time. Like we went through some shit, like so
Yeah,
yeah, I
and
feel you.
I gotta point out that the third game actually had something I thought was like super revolutionary. They call it the Levolution, where you have this massive, I don't know, telephone pole, and it would at some point of the game it will just collapse and kill everyone underneath it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Dams breaking and stuff blowing up all over, and it's something that I games didn't really have at the time.
I'm
That
not sure
at
that's in the
some
third
point,
game though. I think that is in 4.
no, that's third because I played that map so many times. I've seen it fall so many
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, what it was that satellite dish. or whatever, right? Like, is that the one?
Yeah,
It's like the
it's
huge
like
satellite dish that looked like from GoldenEye. Like the
I
it's
don't
like this
remember what it
huge
looks in
thing.
GoldenEye, but it's like a Caspian border or something.
Caspian border, I
Map?
remember.
I remember the name.
Yeah,
See,
that's the
I
map.
think they might have implemented Levolution in Battlefield 3 after Battlefield 4 came out, because I remember Levolution being a huge deal of 4, and it came 1 year after 3 out. Battlefield 4, by the way, was extremely broken on release. I know because I tried to play it. It didn't work.
Yeah, and I hated the fact that you had to like use the browser to play it. It was so weird.
Yeah, the browser thing was a little odd. Why they couldn't have all the browser thing like in game was fucking retarded.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at the like a trailer or like Caspian border gameplay of Battlefield 3, and it has like this white and red whole thing, and I just remember it like collapsing at the end of the fight when you have like 50 ticks left, like that.
Oh no, it's been a few years. I haven't
Yeah.
played a Battlefield game since 2013, I think.
I don't know anything about Battlefield other than pew pew pew.
Yeah, I put a few hours into 1942, and I think that's the one I've played the most.
Yeah.
That's I had the same experience you were talking about, Dan, with 1942. We had this we went to our buddy's trailer. We called it the BCT, the blue carpet trailer. We had dudes on his couch, we had dudes on his counter, we had dudes on his kitchen table, in his bedroom. We had guys like everywhere, and we would just play that thing all night. We played the crap out of that game.
Yeah, it's good times.
Oh right. My second game. This is where it became easy for me. I judge every single RPG based on this game. I love The Witcher 3. To me, it is the greatest RPG ever made. And I mean, nothing comes close. There are different types of RPGs that I adore and love, other games, but for an open world fantasy setting RPG, The Witcher 3 is here, and everything else is somewhere there.
I think
That's a huge gap.
I think The Witcher 3 is the closest that a game has come to the things we were talking about earlier as far as consequences and stuff like that. I think that's the closest one where the world seems like it's actually alive. And not the world isn't dictated on you. It's more of like you're a part of the world. And I think that's the biggest distinction that between most games is that you feel like literally the world revolves around you and everything, whereas in that one it's a little bit, obviously some of that, but conversely you know there's consequences and stuff that happen in other places, and also the consequences I never expected. I think that was I think they had a lot better writers than a lot of other games. Like a lot of other
Yeah,
games are just it's real basic. Yeah,
What really like stands out too is you got the main quest of The Witcher, and then you got like side quests, and the side quests feel fucking like the main quest. They're like the work and effort they put into the side quests is immense, because at that point I was used to the side quest being go there and kill that dude, and I'm like, okay. And now it's the same premise. Go there and kill that dude, but then that dude has like something to say to you, and then it starts to become like morally questionable if you should kill that dude. And then he hands you a piece of paper, and you're like, what the fuck is this? And then you go to some grave, and there's a corpse, and then it's like, no, there's a ghost, and then from there's a werewolf from out of fucking nowhere, and he's like, bro, you need to worship Satan. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? And in the end, I don't know, kill a princess or some shit, and then you get like 10 coins for that crap, and it's like, yeah.
Don't spend it all in one place.
Yeah. Needless to say, I never finished The Witcher 3, but yeah, I think like I loved the way that they did the storytelling in it. The one thing that I wish that would have been implemented was a smoother combat system. I just wasn't a fan of it. I think if you put a Dark Souls like control scheme with Witcher 3, you got money. Like in my personal opinion.
Yeah, the combat.
That's one thing that I remember about it was the controls for me personally were just kind of hard to get used to. Like throughout the entire time I played it, I also never beat the game though. Yeah.
Yeah, it never felt comfortable to me. Like I always felt like I had to think about actually pressing what button I needed to be pressing instead of thinking about what strategy I should be using. Like I was thinking like, and then I would think about the strategy, be like, oh, I totally want to use this spell or I want to switch to this weapon or whatever. And then I would clumsily hit the wrong button because it always felt foreign to me, like the entire playthrough. It was great when it worked, you know, when like I still one of the coolest things in that game to me was, you know, when you got that little like the hook shot deal or whatever, and you brought down the griffin flying by,
Yeah.
or whatever. It's like super,
the tutorial
super
boss, like 40
Yes.
hours into the game.
I was gonna say super early into the game, but like that one scene I thought was just super cool, and then it was like, oh, now you gotta fight him on the ground. Like, shit, I just took him out of the sky. Like, you know, I won, damn it. Like, come on now.
Yeah, I remember trying to use controller and a keyboard and mouse, but nothing felt like comfortable at all. Like it felt like everything was in the wrong place. I tried switching them out, but it just didn't get any better.
Yeah.
I think you need like 4 hands to play it. Like 2 controllers, maybe. Then you can make it work.
Couple foot pedals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people did criticize the controls of the game when it originally came out, and I mean, they never did anything to them. I mean, I'm the sort of guy that I don't customize controls in any game. I just kind of power through the shittiness. Eventually, I'll get used to it, and that happens with every game. And even with Witcher, like I initially I thought that the controls were odd, but yeah, I blindly raged through my rage, and then I was okay with the controls. But it does feel, especially with the keyboard and mouse, it does feel kind of weird to move around. There's this sort of kind of weird floatiness to it when you like move, like turn around and shit. And I mean, I mashed my mouse button a lot so that he swings his sword, and then I won. But I just think that the storytelling and how they built the quest system and the immense like crafting and finding shit, it was just I love exploring and I love finding stuff, but those two things, they need to be together. If there's no finding stuff because I'm exploring, then the exploring is shit. I need to get some sort of reward for it. And The Witcher just has a lot of rewards. And that's why I kept fucking going. There's those question marks on the map. There's like 500 of them. And I'm like, I need to go to every one of them right now. And then I'll just fucking, me and my horsey. And then we slain some goblins on the way. And talked to some old ladies who wanted some, I don't know, werewolf killed or some shit. It was great. Love it. I can't wait for Cyberpunk.
Me neither. I also can't wait for Cyberpunk.
I can't wait for another awesome game I won't finish.
Have we lost North, by the way? I think we've lost North.
Yeah, I think we did lose North, unfortunately.
Well, that means, you know it, boys and girls.
Pikachu face.
You got the Pikachu face back. That's right. Poor North. Now he's angry looking Pika. Guess he lost the internet. I don't fucking know. I mean, it's weird because, well,
There he
now all the
goes.
cameras are fucked. Shit!
Beautiful.
Shit!
Beautiful.
Fucking shit! Motherfucker!
Let's see. I can. See, if I go this way.
Okay, there. Well, I'm here. Hello, hello. There's Trevor. If Joe, I don't know if Joe can do anything, but I mean,
I can move over a little bit.
now you're on
Oh wait,
North's
to get
fucking.
into mine? Hang on, where is mine?
You're like if you
Back there?
no, move like right,
I think
no
if I
left,
do,
and yeah,
if I do
like,
one of these.
like go left, go left.
But now I can't hear anybody.
Oh,
North, what did you do?
God, fucking damn it!
Well, you don't want to change anything because as soon as you do, when he pops in, it's gonna.
Oh, I can't wait
man.
till he pop. I can't wait till he pops in and we all go to different things, like different. Scores on here.
I'm sorry, you guys.
Yeah, I wonder if we could just get like a placeholder person just to join the call, so that it would just put people back in the 5-person.
Yeah. Gorby,
So,
can you
like,
do
if-
that?
Like if Gorby, just wanted to like not activate their camera or mic or anything and just sit in the call.
Yeah, just
It would
to
at least
like
put us
sit in,
back in the right thing.
just to sit in the call. We're gonna put that in the intro screens because I need to do this. Then I need to add friends to the DM. Orbish. There we go.
Oh.
Well, shit. Now Dan's in the fucking middle. It's still fucked.
That's
but-
all right. Wait,
but yeah.
they know who he is. He's been here for an hour and a half now.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. You know.
Man.
Well. Now
did
fucking
North
North
just
is
rejoin?
back. Fucking Gorbish, get the fuck out of here!
North, look what you did.
What did I do?
Hey, we're back right.
Yeah, we're back
Oh
right again.
shit!
You went to the comic book store, and now we're burning
He
alive.
went to the fucking comic book store.
Yeah,
my God.
I have no idea what that was about.
Oh
We
no.
always need you, Gorby. We just don't know it.
Okay, well after that shit show, where were we?
That's pretty epic.
Were you done with Witcher?
Yeah, I guess. It is by far the best RPG I've ever played. Can't wait for Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk and Witcher has nothing in common like game-wise except that they're made by the same developer. I have all my faith and trust in CD Projekt Red. I cannot see them fail. I usually don't hype up games, and I'm certainly not gonna say to anybody that they should pre-order Cyberpunk. I certainly haven't. Oh my god. I can't fucking wait. I cannot fucking wait. I'm done. Thank you for listening.
Dan, you
okay?
want to do your number 3/number 4 since I stole yours?
I know, you son of a bitch. So yeah, it was gonna be Shovel Knight. So now I have to have like a 4/4B.
I mean, you don't
'Cause it's-
have to.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't add in
No.
another one for Dark Souls.
No, well, okay. Well, I'm giving you time to do so. So for me, like really 2 games really stood out as far as like, and these ones were more of just what impacted me, not necessarily what impacted like the industry on them. But Crosscode, which actually dropped like at the end of last year, I believe.
Mm.
And then Darkest Dungeon. So both of those games are, so Darkest Dungeon, going back to, we don't need our hands held to play a game, because that game will do it to you raw every time. And then for Crosscode is one of the unique games that I've played over the longest time that I can remember, that the story actually was so good and the presentation of the game and everything about it was just so good. I had to play through it as quickly as possible. Like it made me feel like a kid again. Like I can't stop playing this game. And I put, I want to say close to 50 hours in that game in less than like a week. And that is just, that doesn't happen to me very often, especially in my old age. Like, back in my youth, I play some Final Fantasy 3 or 6 as they call it now, and I could easily sink a whole weekend into that, right? Like literally the entire weekend. But like nowadays that doesn't really happen, and I think like it really took a lot of stuff, especially with like with games like Celeste coming out that explore different things as far as like mental issues and stuff like that. And Crosscode did that, and they did it with a protagonist that could not speak. um and because like I don't know if like how much you know of Crosscode, but the main character, um it's basically like they're in an MMO, and this character is an avatar in that world. And in that world, because of the way that she's programmed or whatever, she literally can only use the emotes that the programs give her, and she starts off with only the ability to say like yes and no. And so has no way to really speak to anybody other than that. And if you could imagine playing like an MMO, like hypothetically log on to WoW right now and try to communicate with people saying only yes and no, it'd be pretty much impossible. um and anyways, the game handles it really really well, and the plot twists are good. Like I couldn't recommend that game enough.
For those who have Xbox Game Pass, Crosscode is on Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, it's basically like Secret of Mana meets like a more story driven RPG, as far as because the combat and plays very similarly to like Secret of Mana. It's amazing.
So I get that you also probably are waiting for Darkest Dungeon 2.
You know it.
I'm gonna love hating myself when I play that.
It's I think what you never feel so sad when you see your little pixels just disappear. Like
Because
they're
of bullshit fucking RNG.
every time. And then like, oh, okay, yeah, I got the stacked party. We're ready to go. 2 steps. You haven't even gotten to the next room of the dungeon and you're already fucked. Like if something happens and it's like, okay, well, I guess I'll just throw away, you put it on like, what is it, like a long journey, and you bought all these materials, and it's like, oh shit, I didn't need any of those because this person got scared to death in the first like 6 steps. Like, oh look, it's a trap. Oh cool, they got horror. Like it's just bullshit ass game. But
I
I
keep
love it.
meaning to play Darkest Dungeon. I just haven't picked it up yet.
I actually
Don't.
started my streaming with Darkest Dungeon.
Huh?
Yeah, it's
Like when I started streaming, I streamed Darkest Dungeon. That was the first game. When I did my first stream in English with like because I did 6 months prior to when I started streaming for Realsies, I did 2 streams in one day just in Finnish for my friends, which I don't count as my first streams. But then when I started streaming like the big boys, Darkest Dungeon was the first game that I did.
it's so good, and I mean, don't get me wrong, you have to be a certain kind of player to really enjoy it. I think the coolest thing about the game to me is I actually watched an interview with the developers of it, and they were asked all these questions and stuff, and they're just like, we just created the game that we wanted to make. We didn't care if anybody wanted to play it. We just wanted to make the game that we wanted to see, and it was gonna be, the whole focus of the game is, about that camaraderie and all the stuff that goes in, like all the negatives basically of being an adventurer that aren't actually getting killed in the adventure. Like I don't think I legit probably only had one character die in Darkest Dungeon from health. Every single other time they have a heart attack. Every time. Like it's
Wow.
it's ridiculous. It's always stress. Like every time.
All right.
Well, I'll go on to my number 3. It might be I think it's the most recent game so far, and it's partially nostalgia driven and partially just my personal preference. But I absolutely loved God of War from last year. I played the shit out of that game. I don't know. I'm not a completionist, so I'm not one to go through a game and get every single little collectible thing. But I did that with God of War, minus one optional boss, which is the biggest pile of bullshit. We'll not get into that, but I just absolutely thought that was like they took a good premise from the original God of War series, which I talked about earlier, is just like button mashing. You're just there to make sure whatever's in front of you is dead. All you want to do is attack and kill that thing. And they took like a good premise and basically fleshed it out. I mean, they had like a very rough outline for Kratos and what Kratos's motivations were. He was pissed and he wanted to kill people, and they took that and actually crafted it into a good story about a father and son who just lost their wife and mother, and all he's trying to do is live his life. And I just thought that like the turnaround from basically no story at all to what they did with God of War and how like expansive that world is, and there's just so many little details that they put in there to make you really feel like the relationship between Kratos and boy, that whole game. And I think the gameplay is super tight. I think that the story is awesome. Visually, it's amazing. It's just a great game that I dumped a lot more time than probably should. It was one of those games that I would just go back and just play it. Like I wouldn't even like play through the story. I would just load up my completed game and just go fight things because it was just fun to beat the shit out of things in that. I absolutely, for one of the top 3 of the decade, was definitely last year's God of War. So
God of War almost made my list.
yeah, it's good. I would definitely. I mean, it sucks that it's a PS4 exclusive, because I know a lot of people don't buy consoles as much anymore. But if if the stars ever align and it comes out on PC, I'm going to recommend it to anyone who will listen. I mean, like one of the little things that whenever it happened, I was like, oh, okay, that's going to get old fast, because there's no way that they have that much content for it. Is like every time you get in a boat to sail around with your son, they might just start talking and they just have a conversation. Sometimes he's telling him a story, sometimes he's asking him questions, and I never heard the same dialogue twice. And you spend a lot of time in that boat. And it's kind of funny whenever you dock, he'll just kind of be like, and I'll finish the story later. And then you get back in the boat and the kid's like, hey, what about that story you said you were going to finish? Oh yeah. And then he finishes the story. And there's just so many little things that actually makes their relationship feel organic and like it should be, that it was just, yeah, it was great. Great game.
Yeah, God of War is definitely amazing game, and there's a point where their relationship actually like breaks up a little bit, and you can like sense it when you're playing the game, because when you get to the boat, you can see the boy is like turns his back on you and doesn't ask you any question, doesn't care about the story you were about to tell him and stuff like that. Like you can like see how the characters evolve throughout the game and how the relationship evolves, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And yeah, even on the evolving relationship, like in the beginning, you know, Kratos is essentially teaching his son how to become a man, and in combat you'll actually hear him like tell him not to do certain things because it's not right. Or like later in the game, the boy actually has like a rebellious streak and he'll do things that necessarily aren't for the biggest benefit of the situation. I could gush all night about that game. It's an awesome one.
I remember my feelings about the kid were on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, this kid's pretty cool. I fucking hate this kid. I hope he dies. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and that the kid has both of the characters have a huge character development arc for sure.
Yeah. I remember, like, just to bring up what you said about I wonder how many hours of dialogue have they recorded just for the boat rides? Because
Yeah.
you got to think of like how many, like you said, how many hours do you spend traveling? And like you said, I never heard the same thing twice. And I was wondering when I was playing, were they going to run out of things like stories they were saying and stuff? But they never did.
Yeah.
So,
And they were actually like semi entertaining stories. Like I definitely on more than one occasion found myself just kind of sailing in a circle because I didn't want him to interrupt the story. So I would just like go around in my boat in the middle of this giant lake and be like, "No, Kratos, finish the story. I gotta go. I got things to do."
Well, Trevor,
turn.
what's your last pick?
my last pick would probably be The Last of Us, because I think it's probably the first game that I don't know, like obviously video games have storylines to them, but it's the first game that I played that I felt like I don't know, like I was watching a movie. Like I was very just in tune with the story, and I don't know, it just had like kind of like you said with God of War, like this character development that I hadn't really seen in other games that much. At least not as done as well as they did in The Last of Us. Like how Joel doesn't really want to do anything with the girl and whatnot. Then he kind of grows to basically love her. And like we were talking about how the boy gets mad at you, and like there's like an actual scene in or area in The Last of Us, she gets mad at you too, and then she's just kind of ignores you and gets like really short with her answers and stuff. And it's things like that that made me like kind of uh I don't know, just appreciate the dialogue and the storyline and everything of the game. And also I just like post-apocalyptic stuff.
So I get that
Yeah.
you're probably super excited for Last of Us 2.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's probably the first video game where I won't say like I almost cried or anything, because I didn't almost cry, but I was really like, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but I was like, I really hope this person isn't dead. Like I was like, this person better not be dead. I hope they're not dead. You know. But it was like one of the first video games that like really made like tugged on my heart. Like I was like, oh, that's like, you know. But
Yeah, I
yeah.
think I experienced the same thing with the Last of Us. I want to say, and I think I didn't play God of War, just because I'm too lazy to bring my PS4 into my office to play it. But I think with The Last of Us, I was kind of in the same boat as far as just watching this relationship like organically grow throughout your playthrough of the game. And I think that's what makes I think that's a really good focus for like the story writers, is having more than essentially one main character and have them experience things and then see how that develops their character. And it also makes me wonder influenced um how much The Last of Us influenced God of War as far as how that relationship would grow between the two characters. Because it seems to me like a lot of the same kind of themes as far as like just the way that they organically grow in that relationship, I guess to say. But yeah, I really enjoyed The Last of Us, and also once you've heard that clicker sound, you never forget it.
Yeah. Another thing they did very well was just the like. Normally, I hate like babysitting games where you have to take care of someone the whole time and watch after them and stuff. But they did it so well that like you don't have to worry about the other person. They're there, and I think maybe every now and then like a bandit or whatever like will grab her, and you get to go there and help her a little bit. But for the most part, she takes care of herself, and you don't have to worry about her. And that's one thing that like I just love about is they have the babysitting aspect without the babysitting aspect.
Yeah, you got to make them useful. I mean, you're tired of carrying around a, just like basically pulling a dog on a leash. Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
why.
playing right now. Oh, sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, go for it.
I was gonna say I'm playing right now. A Plague Tale, and it's nothing but you're literally holding a child's hand the whole time and walking it through hazard areas. It's just babysitting 101, and I fucking hate it.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, they're another person. Like at least in like BioShock Infinite too. Like Elizabeth is tossing you ammo and random crap. At least have them do something. Don't make me have to be like their savior all the time. They're living in this post-apocalyptic world too.
Yeah, and
They,
like
they could.
the boy in God of War, I do believe she kind of gets more adept to fighting herself, so she'll actually help you out more near the end of the game than you're having to help her out.
Yeah, I mean, she can pick up a brick. Do it.
Exactly.
Last of Us is definitely on my list because I remember whenever it came out, like everyone was talking about Last of Us. It was
Mhm.
huge. It's definitely on the list of stuff for me to play. And I'm glad to hear that it is like that because I was kind of afraid just from what I had seen, and people said kind of like what you said, Trevor, that you like got drawn into it like you almost like you were watching a movie. So I was kind of worried it was basically a movie video game where you didn't really do that much. But if it's like what you're saying, I definitely I'm more encouraged to give it a shot.
Yeah, I would definitely play it. Like, I would say, well, obviously it's one of my top three, but it's one of the best games out there, in my opinion.
In the same like note, I recommend Uncharted games too, because they're made by Naughty Dog. Like I do
Yeah.
think Last of Us is Naughty Dog's best game. Uncharted 4 might be very, very, very close in just how it plays and just how goddamn beautiful it looks. But I played in the span of a single year, I played all of the Uncharted's and Last of Us. And I mean, whatever Naughty Dog puts out, I'm gonna buy, because Jesus fucking Christ, they're good at making games.
Yeah, I would say with The Last of Us, just for you, Gratificate, like for me with the game, like the combat and things like that are done very, very well. Like I didn't have any problems with the combat at all. It's awesome. But like the story is like the number one thing about the game. And then the combat. To say that, like I don't want you to be like, oh, combat came secondary, combat's still really, really good in the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just kind of worried that it was more like an interactive movie type situation where you don't really have like that much control. You're just kind of walking through it and experiencing or letting the world happen to you as opposed to happening to the world.
Yeah.
And that, but
And
yeah, if it's not like that, that's good.
no, it totally plays like chapters slash levels. Like you definitely do some stuff for a while, and then it then you move you move on.
Yeah.
But definitely, Joe, play Last of Us. Buy it on the PS4, the remastered edition of it. Like it, because I mean, it's essentially the same game as the original, but it just looks better. And yeah, Last of Us is a very, very good game. But yeah, Nort, what's your last pick?
My last pick was Civ 5. Not 6,
Hell yeah.
because it's not.
I was
really
expecting
complete.
a third competitive game, legitimately, because
Really?
League is very competitive and Battlefield is competitive. So I expected a third competitive game. I thought he would say Siege. I was
I was
waiting for
You
a
thought I was
Siege.
going to say Siege?
I was expecting a competitive game as well, Tom.
Yeah,
Well, damn.
I totally waited
I
for
was
Siege.
expecting Tarkov.
It's not released, so I can't say that. And I have mixed
mean,
feelings for Tarkov
out
right
there.
now, so
Mhm.
I wouldn't say that either. But yeah, Civ 5. Well, it's it's more complete than the fourth one, and it feels better than the sixth one. And you definitely need all the DLCs to actually like enjoy the game to the fullest, because it gives you a lot more countries and leaders you can play with and all the good stuff. And you can play it over and over again so many times. You can think about, do you want to have like a country with a lot of culture, or do you want to have some crazy religion and just have prophets conquer the world, or do you just want to build, I don't know, tanks and just run over everybody? Like you have so many choices you can do, and I love the strategy aspect of the game. You can have, I don't remember if it was it like 6 corners in the fifth one, or was
It's
it eight? I
it's a
forget.
hexagon in
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the hexagons.
yeah.
Yeah,
So it's it is six.
six corners. Yeah. I think that works out fine. But even though I have like, I don't know, 500 hours on the game, I still feel like I don't know a lot about the game. I feel like there's still growth somewhere that if I would like explore, I would probably understand it better. Like the combat system, I don't really understand how it goes. I just like go with it and I still have fun, and I still somehow manage to excel playing the game. Like I think I beat like 7 computers versus me on a free for all on a large map. I think I beat every single difficulty except the hardest one, and that's like stupid
Well, I
hard.
mean,
Like
yeah, they
it gives
cheat.
the computers so much advantage. It's
Yeah.
not even funny. You're just gonna have a bad time if you try and
Yeah,
do that.
Don't they start with like 3 settlers and like a
Yeah.
shit ton of army units and crap too?
Yeah, like
turn
legitimately,
10.
like people who have thousands of hours in Civ 5 say that the hardest difficulty is something nobody should play, because
Yeah.
it is cheating. They get massive benefits into everything. You cannot win. So the second
Yeah.
hardest is even considered by a lot of, I say pro players now in quotation marks because there are really no pro players, but the second hardest is what pretty much everyone considers the hardest difficulty.
Yeah.
And it's okay, North. I consider you a pro.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. North is a pro.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a pro in our hearts.
Yeah. And I still want to see how the sixth one actually goes. I think it has some growth. I haven't played the newest DLC because it's stupid expensive. I don't want to pay like 40 euros for a DLC that I already bought like 4 DLCs for and the base game. And then I would have to pay another 40 bucks for a DLC. It just feels outrageous. But I heard a lot of good things, that it adds a lot of stuff to the world, such as like major events such as volcanoes bursting out, tornadoes, and stuff like that. And I'm definitely gonna check that out in the future. But for now, the fifth one takes the game of the decade for me, at least.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty. I don't have the patience for Civ games, but I think that's the general consensus, is that like 5 is just way better than 6 from what I've heard.
It is.
Yeah, I liked it more too.
That's what everyone thinks.
The sixth one is more cartoony, I think.
It's not even
It's
about
not-
the cartooniness. It's the game mechanics are just different enough that it's if
Yeah.
like I just prefer Civ 5 over 6 because of the game mechanics.
Yeah, 6 isn't bad. Just 5's better.
Oh yeah, I mean that's way better put than what I said. I mean it's the truth. It's not a bad game. It works and everything, and even though the cartoony look is cartoony, it still looks like okay. It's just a Civ 5 is better,
Yeah.
and definitely a good game. All right. 2014 Game of the Year was Dragon Age Inquisition, and on a lot of internet forums and Reddit threads, when people talk about 2014, they usually say something along the lines that it was a bad year in gaming. They are 100% Wrong. Because not only the best game of the decade was released that year, the best game ever was released that year. And my favorite game of all time, which is The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. And
Good game.
yeah, I mean it's my most played game. I'm not gonna swing my internet dick around here and say that I have a shitload of hours in one game. I have a little bit of over 1,000 hours in Isaac. Like, I know that there's like rookie numbers, but there's a difference between a dude who plays 6,000 hours of Dota and plays only one game, and me putting over 1,000 hours in one game and then playing 500 other games.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not about, about like how big the edict is. I mean, that's how you use it. I mean, you've accomplished a lot. You've accomplished a lot in those 1,000 hours. Like, I mean, you've accomplished what, some other edict holders could only, aspire to. You're like you're basically, you get my edict inspiration award.
Oh, thanks. I humbly accept.
Edict of the decade.
Yeah. And that brings us to our next topic.
No, but for real, Isaac is the game that I can like also like recommend to anybody to like try out. There's Isaac is very, very, very popular. It's not a niche game anymore. It was a niche game back. I consider it as a niche game back when the original Isaac was a thing. And Rebirth is a remake of the original. I did play the original too, and there's still people who prefer the original over the remake, and to them I also say they're wrong. The remake is just infinitely better in every single aspect.
Yeah, I started playing with Rebirth, and like I have no want to play, the original or anything. And mind you, I got small edict peepee next to your 1,000+ hours, but I can say I've accomplished pretty much everything, but anything to do with the Lost. I mean, it's a super great game. It really rings true to me. It's one of the best roguelikes out there, and really defines the genre in a lot of different ways because, RNG could make you powerful, or if you're good, you can make RNG not matter and just roll with it, And I think that's one of the risk versus reward on that game is really good.
The developer of Isaac has stated himself multiple times that he never expected Isaac to be a thing. The original Isaac was coded in just a couple of months, and he just intended it for just like he put it out and thought no one would ever play it. And it got picked up on YouTube pretty hard because of the depth of the game. And then he decided that, well, shit, if people are going to play this, I might as well like make it for real. And then he made the remake, like with real coders and shit. And he still like he doesn't understand how people can find so many enjoyable things in Isaac. And he says that even like gameplay and design choices he made, people have found things that he did not think of, and thus, even though the game works in every way like intended, there's accidental gameplay choices that have been implemented that he did not even think that he's implementing, and they've just been found. But yeah, Isaac is... I'm gonna pick up Isaac again on stream when Repentance comes out, which is the last DLC for Rebirth. I do recommend Rebirth as a complete edition, which means that I do recommend the Afterbirth and Afterbirth Plus DLCs. I also need to say this, if anybody has never seen Isaac or never played Isaac, it has a whole bunch of toilet humor, gross things, and it shits on Christianity from start to finish. And it is an accurate representation of Edmund Macmillan's life, which is the name of the creator of Isaac.
The end is nigh.
Yeah, that's another game he made. End is nigh is a good platformer. And super fucking difficult. Like, at least the end game stuff.
Yeah, a little bit.
I would almost call bullshit. All right,
No.
that was top 3 games of the decade. We spent like 1.5 hours on that.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a lot.
I wonder if Soulja Boy's doing anything new now.
Let me check his Twitter.
Any Soulja Boy updates?
Exactly.
I tried looking up his Twitter, but it says that I can't see any of his tweets.
Is he
because I'm not
blocked you?
following or
Oh
something.
yeah, yeah. He blocked you. So you
Oh,
need to stop
shit.
stop fangirling him, dude. Like, give him his space.
But Trevor has been playing a lot of VR games from our little group. And now Trevor's gonna tell everyone what he thinks is definitely the VR game that you should buy after you spend hundreds of dollars on a VR headset. This is Trevor's VR game of the year. Go.
So I was thinking about this and I was like, there are a few games like Asgard's Wrath came out, and it's like probably most VR games, since they're such big files, they're usually either short games or it's a game like Stormland where you play through the story, which is about 6 hours, and then it's like on a repeat mode, kind of like a rogue game. So that's how they get you to, keep playing, and it makes it seem longer. But Asgard's Wrath is a game that's actually like a 30-40 hour VR game, but it's a huge game. So I was like, well, can I choose this game? Because it looks great. It's fantastic. Like, it's the best, probably the best looking VR game out there. Or could I choose a game that's kind of, it's a little wonky right now, but it's kind of getting like revolutionary in the VR world, which is Boneworks, which just came out. Has like amazing, well, it can be amazing physics, and it can also be frustrating physics. But it's a game where basically you can interact with almost anything in the world, which most games in VR aren't like that. But I had to bite my teeth, and I didn't want to choose this game. I didn't want to, but it has to be Beat Saber.
Gorbish called it.
Because when I play Boneworks or something, I may, play it for a couple hours and I'm like, all right, I'm done. Or I play Asgard's Wrath for a couple hours and I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm never done with Beat Saber. I just play it and play it and play it and play it. And you would think something so simple would just be, it's like Guitar Hero. Like, you just see blocks coming at you and you're like, oh, this is okay. It's just blocks. And you're just going to hit the button with the block. That's nothing. And you're like, oh, this is kind of fun. Oh, I'm getting better at this. Oh, I'm getting really good at this. And like, it's a game. Every day I play, I see progression. And you can test your progression because there could be a song that you're not good at. And you'll be like, oh, I can only last 5 seconds into the song. And then the next day you'll play and you're like, oh, I lasted 7 seconds. And then by the end of the week, you're like, I can get halfway through the song. So you can tell that you're definitely getting better at the game and stuff. But I don't know. It's just addicting. It's the most addicting game I think I've played in a long time. And they just came out. I didn't know this till last night. They just came out with the new 90-degree and 360-degree VR. So now things are coming at you from every angle, basically. So you have to completely turn around and stuff.
That
played,
sounds terrible.
Yeah, well, the 360 version is only, it's technically only for the what's the new one? The Quest is the wireless one, because they know you're gonna get tangled up in your cords.
Yeah. Smash shit.
That's why they came out with the 90-degree version. So you turn on, it's technically 180 degrees, but you can turn 9 degrees this way or this way. That's for people that have a corded headset to kind of get around that issue. But I don't know. It's Beat Saber. I had to give it to it. Couldn't help it.
Fucking Beat Saber, man.
I've played it some. It is addictive. It's a fun game.
Also, I was the #1 in the world on a particular song for like a week straight.
Hey, that's a golf clap.
Gotta give it to you.
Dude, yeah, Crank That was probably pretty difficult.
Oh god! Now I need to know if it's on there because it's gotta be, right?
It's gotta be there. Crank Saber.
Yeah, Crank Saber.
Yeah. If you have a VR headset, Beat Saber is an absolute must get. And even if you think like, oh, I'm not gonna like this game, oh, I'm just gonna, this game isn't for me, get it, and you'll love it.
This is the one time Sully's kind of thing doesn't work. Like when Sully says if the game is not for you, which is what he likes to say when somebody doesn't like a game, it doesn't work for Beat Saber. Literally everyone should get Beat Saber if you have a VR headset.
I'll have to say, like, I took it to back home for the holidays just to like show my family VR and stuff like that. And my girlfriend's brother, he's not a gamer by any means, really. I think he played games when he was, very young. But I was trying to show him the VR thing, and he literally was like, "I don't want to play games on that. Like, I'm not into that thing." And I finally got him to put the headset on, and he played one game of Beat Saber. Then we moved on to something else, and like not even 10 minutes later, he was like, "Hey man, can we play Beat Saber again?" He played it for like 2 hours.
Wow.
So
I'm sold.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll get Beat Saber when I get a VR headset sometime in the future. But okay, let's move on. So everybody might not have something for this, but maybe somebody, maybe everyone has, maybe not. Who knows? Let's talk about our indie game of the year. We will have game of the year a little bit later, but let's do indie game of the year. Now, is there somebody here who does not have an indie game of the year? Hands up. Okay, well shit. Let's get going. Who goes first?
I go first.
Let's go.
Ooh.
Mine is definitely Slay the Spire. It's so addicting. I can play it over and over again, and I still haven't beaten like the most difficult levels. And it always, if you feel like the levels are getting like too boring, they will hit you with the weekly or like daily different mixes. Like in this, if you do this daily, you will have only like 15 artifacts and these cards. Try to get as far as you can. Like it's so good. And they're gonna introduce a new character. I talked about it a few podcasts ago, a few episodes ago, and I haven't played it for a while, so I don't really remember what it was, but it was like this monk style with different stances, and it's definitely gonna bring up a new twist when it actually is released. You can play it currently on the beta if you activate it on Steam.
And that game has a ton of modability for it,
Yep.
which keeps that game constantly fresh. I also love that game. It was very nearly my indie game of the year.
Yeah, I haven't done any modding, and I still have like 600 hours on it or something.
It might have been my indie game of the year if I could beat the first fucking level.
What a noob! Look at this guy.
Oh man.
It's a good game.
It takes a while.
Yeah.
It is definitely punishing, like really punishing, and it definitely like the RNG can really fuck you over. If you just don't get the cards as rewards, then you're fucked.
Or you do what I did when I first played it, and you keep as many cards as possible, thinking that having a lot of cards is the way to go, when it's really not. Like, like I remember, because my first time playing it, I was like, okay, I got like 30 cards. This is dope. Look at all these badass cards. Oh, that's right. I can't draw any of them because I have a 1 in 30 chance to draw them.
Yeah.
All right, who's next?
I'll go next. My indie game of the year was Katana Zero.
Okay.
I thought Katana Zero was an amazing game. It scratched a lot of itches that I didn't know I had. That just like everything about that game just kept me in it. Like I kept wanting to come back to Katana Zero. Just the gameplay was super tight. The story was a roller coaster. That thing was wild. I'm not saying I'm good at predicting stories. I think that stories are getting lazier. I had no idea what was going to happen next that entire game. And every time something happened, I'm like, what the? And then, it never felt like it came out of nowhere after they explained what happened. Because that whole game, your character's kind of foggy himself, and you're just kind of like going through it, trying to figure out what's going on, and it was good. It's Katana Zero is Devolver Digital continues to put out great games. That's all it is.
They have a real good knack on choosing weird developers.
Mm-hmm.
I think I never played the game. I watched Tom play it, and it seems amazing, and I kind of want to try it out. And it's only like $12 right now, but
Yeah, I was
you
gonna
can
say, I
get
think
it
it's
for like $9 on sale, I think. So
I think it was
it's
free
definitely
on
like bang for buck.
Twitch.
Oh, really?
Was
Yeah.
it?
It was. That's how I got it, but that was a minute ago. So
Yeah, through Prime
And
it'd
runs.
be different now.
North doesn't
No,
have
It's
Prime.
also, it's not super long either. Like you can
Yeah, no.
you can have that complete experience in a relatively small amount of time.
I did complete it in one stream. And it has a DLC coming.
Yeah, which I'm looking forward to.
I wish they would have something like like an endless mode or something. Like they would have like randomized rooms that you would have to like go through, because they're like these small levels that you have to complete each time. So
Right.
they would have like something
It's just something
endless mode
procedurally
with
generated.
randomizer. It would always create a different kind of room with a different enemies and stuff like that. I think it would be amazing.
All right, Trevor, what's your game of the year? Indie game of the year, sorry.
So mine is basically Risk of Rain 2, because I just like mindless shooters that I don't have to think about anything. And it's a game that I can if I don't have anything else to play, I know I can pick that up and I'll just get right back into it and enjoy it. And you know, I've fallen in and out of playing it over the time that's been out. But I know for a fact I'm gonna pick it up again eventually with one of you guys probably and start playing it again. And yeah, it's just a game I enjoy. Like, we have runs that last like 2 hours, and we're just doing the same thing, which is just holding the click button down and just shooting random shit. But Risk of Rain.
Did you know that they just released a new character?
was
I
just
looked
about to
like
say that.
last week and I didn't see it, but so
They just had an update. I'm like looking forward to like full release or something, because it feels like they're throwing new shit at you like left and right. You don't have the time to like explore this update before another one comes in.
I mean, there's a couple of months in between the major updates, which are the more like the meaningful ones. But it's definitely a fun game, and like it's a mindless shooter. And once you get like past a certain point during the run, you can't die. So it becomes kind of like, do I kill myself, or rather, do I try to kill myself because it's hard to die, or do I wait for that one portal that gets me to that weird ass stone that just obliterates me? Good game though.
Yep.
So Dan, your indie game of the year is probably
Oh, go ahead.
Blasphemous.
You're probably incorrect.
Damn it! Fuck.
But you might not be. He said probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Let's wait.
So if you count the newest expansion to Shovel Knight. That is actually my indie game of the year because King of Cards, having played it this last weekend, I can tell you it is one of the most entertaining plays that I have done in a long time. It is legit, like, just funny. It's the writing in it is so humorous. It's so like it's so adorable, like the way that it plays out. And King Knight is not the sharpest knife in the drawer. And they just did a really good job with the writing on it. And the move set is my favorite since the original Shovel Knight campaign. It seems really basic, but there's just something about being able to just ram your shoulder into shit. And then you're doing stuff like when like in ice areas, you're figure skating, like your ice skating is your movement. And because like you go through a lot of areas that are very similar to like when you played a Spectre Knight. You're riding on, how he's riding on his scythe or whatever. It's kind of the same idea, but you're ice skating on ice, and whenever you jump, you do this like pirouette or whatever, like you're like you're twirling as you're jumping and stuff. And I seriously, just the little things like that made me laugh for hours. And that's what kept me playing it from when I started. I legit didn't put it down till I beat the campaign, the entire thing. And I 100% all the medallions and like all the collectibles in that campaign, and I didn't put it down until I finished it. But Blasphemous would have been the choice had Shovel Knight not counted.
So that was almost right.
Yeah,
Almost.
All right. My indie game of the year.
probably Blasphemous.
Jump King.
It's not.
That's what Dan would have said. It's definitely not fucking Jump King. Fuck that game. Fuck it right in its. It just had DLC and I want to play it. It's not Dead Cells either. Dead Cells is my most played game of this year, probably. No, my indie game of the year is Katana Zero. Because, yeah.
Never heard of that game before.
What the fuck is that game? Like, legitimately, I looked very little into Katana Zero because it is Devolver. And whatever Devolver puts out, I'm fucking blind as shit and I buy it. But it looked like a samurai game, and like a 2D samurai game. You just go and you slice some dudes up. And what I got was that, but so much more. With the fucking weird ass story. And I even said it on stream, like I went into a game wanting to play a game, but I got hooked by watching the shit unfold in front of me. And I'm very much like those who watch my stream more know that I hate reading on stream, and I much more prefer gameplay to like anything else in a game. But Katana Zero flipped that on me, and I really, really, really enjoyed what they did with Katana Zero. The gameplay became a secondary thing for me after the story. And I wanted to rush through the levels so I could get to the next bit where some weird shit is gonna happen. It very, very rarely happens with me like that. Definitely, like, fucking everybody should play Katana Zero. It is a short game. Like, I think I've completed it in 3-4 hours.
And I had the exact same thought process going into it too. It just looking at what we were shown, it just like in my mind I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a samurai. Someone's gonna hire me to go murder some fools. I'm gonna go murder some fools, and that's not it at all. And it's awesome.
You do murder some fools though, but
you do murder fools.
But it is so much more than that.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I kind of skipped the thing, didn't I, on the little docket?
Yeah, what do we have here? Oh yeah, nothing.
Kind of skipped the little thing. We'll do it quickly though.
Yep.
We'll do it quickly though. So I'm a huge advocate for not pre-ordering anything ever. So because of that, we have this thing called, oh God, why did we pre-order that?
You nailed it, dude.
But this is also more like what is the biggest disappointments, and there's obviously a lot of games that we will get to the main game of this year that, oh God, why did we pre-order that? But there is a huge game that did release last year, but had a very fucking huge impact on this year, and that is Fallout 76. What
It's still falling.
What the fuck happened, Bethesda? What the fuck happened?
What's still happening?
What
exactly.
From the
Going to
beginning.
happen?
That is the fucking what the fuck is still fucking happening? Where it's just the most recent thing that pissed the fuck off everybody. In the infinite wisdom that Bethesda has, or ZeniMax, or whoever the suits are in charge, whatever their names are, they introduced a subscription model into Fallout 76 because, of course, that is what Fallout 76 fucking needs. So you can either pay $12 a month, no, $10 a month, yeah, $12 a month, or you can pay $100 for the entire year. So you get through 2 free months, you know? And somehow, the subscription model itself is not the biggest insult. Because when you fucking bought the thing, you got a little junk box that you can put all your shit in. Because of course the boxes, regularly they have a limit on how much shit you can put in there. The box itself was broken. You put shit in it and it disappeared. I pay you 100 buckaroos and then you break my shit and I can never get it back ever again. I don't understand.
If you somehow figured out a way to get it back, they would ban you for modding or something.
For reals.
There is a very, very good video that is a little bit outdated now because of the subscription model thing. There's a video called The Fall of 76, which is made by Internet Historian on YouTube. It's a 45-minute video, and it is the best video released this year. It's released somewhere in the beginning of the year, and I highly fucking recommend anyone interested in Fallout 76 to watch that video. Internet Historian, The Fall of 76. It is. He's an hilarious dude, and he recaps all the shit that has happened with Fallout 76. But because it was released last year, the oh God, why did we pre-order that of this year kind of falls either Artifact or Anthem. Now, half of you are like, what the fuck's Artifact? So, but everybody knows what Anthem is. Now, Artifact is a card game made by Valve, none other than Valve, the company that can't do anything wrong, and they completely made something wrong. So bad, in fact, that nobody plays Artifact. Nobody. It got so bad that the people on Twitch started to troll the Artifact game directory on this site, where they showed porn and memes and the Christchurch shooting, horrible things, and then just random dank memes. And now they're remaking the game. It is going to get cancelled. I mean, what the fuck are they doing? So at least in my own mind, people can agree or disagree. I think the biggest, oh God, why did we pre-order that from this year, has to be Anthem. Because millions of people bought the game. And whew, what a dumpster fire.
Yep, I would probably agree with that for sure. Anthem is a poop.
Didn't play it, but yeah, definitely saw all the stuff on it.
They are also remaking Anthem.
That's
How
good.
How do you remake something in the first year? Like that.
No,
It's look at the company. It's fine.
yeah. It's. I mean,
By the way, if you bought the first Anthem, you still got to buy the remake. I'm sure.
Well, of course.
yeah. See, I don't know what they're gonna do. Like, Kotaku put out an article where they're talking about an overhaul of Anthem, where they are going to redesign the entire game. And I don't know how much you can really redesign, because you have to like switch core gameplay mechanics, or oh no, I mean, I'm
Well, they're
honestly
probably
surprised.
they're just looking for a better way to monetize it. That's all. They're gonna they're gonna add monetization in. That's the overhaul.
I mean, it might be. Fuck it. Like, I'm surprised EA is willing to do this. The company that is most well known for killing projects, even like popular franchises and shit. I mean,
you can put this on the record. Before it's all said and done, monetization will be the number one thing in that game. That'll be it.
I mean, sure. I can completely agree with that, because I mean, ultimately EA, I mean, they already said before Anthem came out, they said that they have a 10-year plan for Anthem. And to me, that was like retarded in the first place, because it's still, you have a brand new IP and you're already talking about a 10-year plan. I mean, fucking Destiny had a 10-year plan before Destiny came out, and it completely fucking failed. I mean, they're still doing, I mean, Destiny 2 came out, but
10 years of the loot cave, dude.
Please play our game for the next 10 years. I know you haven't played a single second of it, but please trust us. Trust us to play this game for the next 10 years. Fucking Anthem, and fuck you, EA.
Said it.
Whew. Let's jump right into like the next thing that is also like happy times, which is a big part of our podcast has been like talking about the games industry as a whole. And
well, and you can't talk about the whole without some shit. So
yeah.
there you go.
So what do you guys think? What is the biggest gaming related news story from this year? What's the first thing that comes into mind?
For me, it's a really recent one, but Valve makes video games. Did you guys know that Valve actually makes like fully not card games, or just like remakes of other? It's like an actual game. They've announced 2 of them this year. It blows my mind. Valve, they don't just have a platform; they make video games.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, I think that's huge. Like,
yeah,
legitimately to me, that is actually like a huge news thing, because so many people have been asking for so many 3s, and Valve is giving them a beacon of hope. Maybe just to shit on them. We'll find out.
They're just gonna give them a whole bunch more 1s and 2s.
Mostly 2s. Just a couple deuces.
I feel like they just like realized that they have what basically Netflix has, and they're just trying to do the same thing that they're doing, making their own game, so they don't have to like share revenue from the other games, or like, because it's their game, it's gonna be there forever. So
yeah,
they're
and
just gonna pull that off.
Well, and then they don't have to compete with, any other platform to purchase games off of and stuff, because it won't be available there. It's smart. Now they just have to, put out good games.
Yeah.
And and then they'll be good.
Valve also lost a pretty notable lawsuit this year in France, where essentially the French court system decided that buying digital games is the same thing as buying physical copies, and therefore those digital games need to the consumer needs to have the option to resell those games. And even though I am very pro consumer on a lot of things, I do think that reselling digital goods is one of the worst ideas there is.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
called, I mean, taking it back to what we talked about earlier. Now you're looking at a real life auction house. That's literally what that is. But with,
Yep.
digital goods, I mean, it's just dumb.
It's so what is going to happen here probably, because the French court already ruled this, and they gave Valve like a month. I think it was 4 weeks to implement this system into Steam, and that system doesn't exist in Steam, even for the French players. So what Valve is doing right now is they're paying a fine of 3,000 euros every single day, upwards until 6 months, which it will culminate to like a total of 500,000 euros. And after that, the fines just stop. So I mean, they're not gonna implement this system.
Yeah, they're
What
just gonna
the-
eat it.
Yeah. Of course, they're gonna just eat it. The real fear, though, is because France is part of the European Union, other countries in the European Union can, without having a lengthy court battle, they could just choose to do the same thing. So in the hypothetical, if all the European Union countries decide to do the same thing, it could really damage Valve. And not only Valve, but a lot of other outlets or platforms or digital goods sellers or whatever. But I wholeheartedly believe that selling digital games is one of the worst ideas I've heard in a very long time. It would completely destroy the indie market. And I shit you not, the instant that system is implemented, I will buy a game for $60, and after that, I'll sell that game for €1 to North when I'm done with it. And then North plays that game, and he sells that game for €1 to Joe. Then Joe plays it, he sells that one game for €1, $1 to Dan. Then Dan plays it, he sells that game for $1 to Trevor. And its cycle goes on. One game bought, and it switches user. It'll completely destroy the indie market, and it'll heavily tank the AAA market. I mean, there's huge groups online that where there's United States players who buy games on Steam, and then they gift them to European players because it costs less. It used to be way huger when euro was more expensive than the dollar. I think that it's died down a little bit, but yeah, I don't hope that system would ever be implemented, because fuck that. And obviously, when we're talking about big gaming related news stories, for me, the biggest one this year by far would have been, because it has had biggest impact, even impact on me personally, was the Blizzard's decision to ban Blitzchung and the entire Hong Kong controversy. And we've talked about this on length on this podcast, so I'll be obviously brief. I still think it's a lose-lose situation for Blizzard. They can't really help themselves. They're fucked if they do something, they're fucked if they don't do something. And ultimately what it comes down to me is I just don't want to support that kind of company anymore. And that's why I deleted my Blizzard account. And I won't be supporting their products anymore. And luckily I have that right as a consumer to pick and choose which companies I let them fuck me, but unfortunate for Blizzard, obviously.
Yeah, I think honestly, like looking at Blizzard as a whole, for especially like latest trends, like for instance, the beginning of this year, they didn't start off too fantastic either before even that stuff happened. You come off talking about your record quarter ever in sales and stuff, and immediately follow that up with an 8% layoff of your workforce. That just goes to show the Activision, like just kind of going in there and that corporate greed kind of deal. And you've got all of the, all of the guys that, that founded the company, and that had those, those dreams as like, like us, we love games, right? We talk about games, we play games, we live games. And those people are all leaving the company. Throughout this entire year, you can see of all of these head up people that are bailing from the company. And then you have events like this where, like you said, it's a lose-lose. Like whether they act on it, they lose. Whether they don't act on it, they lose in another regard. And either way, they're just gonna be in a bad place. And it's just it's unfortunate that a company and stuff that gave us so many good memories over our lives and stuff are in a position that way. But yeah, like you said, you're a consumer and you have you have the option to support them. And really, honestly, that's the main thing. Is if at the end of the day, if it doesn't impact slash matter to you, you can continue to support them and do whatever you want. If it does, don't. I mean, the almighty dollar will speak for everybody, especially with all of these companies that are, when that's all they focus on, that's where it hurts them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
For me, the biggest thing, being, obviously, we're all in the streaming game and stuff like that, is seeing these multi-million-dollar deals and stuff for streamers leaving platforms. Um, to me, it's about time. It's about time that happens. And it's not so much like, oh, Ninja or Shroud or, whomever, they're getting paper, blah, blah, blah. Like, good on them. Like, you've got stability in something that doesn't have, like, we don't know what the streaming like market or anything like that's going to be in, X amount of time. So for you to find a way to secure your financial future and still do technically the things you love. Now, conversely, I was watching an interview where they were interviewing Ninja, and he was talking about it, and he says, like, I did this for, all the streamers. Bullshit. You didn't do it for all you didn't do it for all the streamers. You did it for, an undisclosed amount of money. Like, be real
A
with it.
lot of money.
But exactly. And at the end of the day, yes, it is going to have a positive impact on the like the whole, like, I guess you could say, the whole realm of streaming, because now you can actually really start to get some competition in there. Like, Twitch is still far and above, like, percentage wise, than any of these other platforms. But now, like, get somebody to combat Twitch so that they actually have to start innovating and, adding more to their platform to help retain people. Because, I mean, I don't know about you, like, shit, they, Mixer come up to me and say, like, hey man, I'll give you a burrito and a large drink. I'm fucking gone. Like, like, I mean, like, the thing is, just seeing them starting to implement stuff is going to be the big thing. Now, I would have rather have seen, like, companies like Mixer take a lot of mid-range streamers instead of these really high up guys, and it would have meant more to their platform that way. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And any, not to go on this huge long tangent, that's really what I would say is the biggest news for me, is seeing how this market's growing and seeing how it's evolving based on these decisions.
I think it will be bigger next year once we start to see the real ramifications of streamers moving platforms, and like, and to really see if people, like, what, like, viewers move platforms, or if they take another platform to watch. I still think that there's not enough time to really feel the real impact of the entire thing.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's not gonna be necessarily, or at least the moves singularly are not good for the companies that are paying the money. They're great for the streamers, because those streamers are getting stability in a market that has none. Um, but the companies themselves singularly are not gonna see that increase. But I think as a whole, it's gonna add to more, because I mean, you even have guys like, like the Mexican runner, who left Twitch. He got to deal with Facebook gaming. Like, Nobody talks about Facebook gaming, but Facebook offered him a deal to go over there. So, and I mean, and he's not, obviously he's not he was never putting out numbers like, the Shroud, Ninjas, and all these people. So seeing stuff like that to like mid-range streamers and stuff is really an encouraging thing to see in the market, especially coming from, a corner like Facebook that, I mean, they have like less than 1% or something like that of the stream gaming traffic. But if they're actually willing to make moves and do something in that regard, I mean,
Yeah.
They definitely have the money to do that.
yeah, it's exciting, and I mean, they already have our information anyway, so I mean, you might as well just do everything over there.
They're probably blackmailing those streamers. Like, we know your secrets, so you better come here now.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
The undisclosed amount of money is the money he already had in savings.
They let him keep it. That was the thing. They let him keep his money.
Exactly.
But yeah, definitely, I do agree with Dan completely that it's about time that something's happening. Like, Twitch has been #1 for a number of years at this point, and really, like, Mixer's kind of competition has been non-existent, to be completely honest. And even with the big moves like Ninja and Shroud moving to Mixer, I mean, their numbers have tanked to the under 10,000 average. So I mean, and this is what I mean, like, the next year we'll probably see more how it will evolve. At least, like, short term, their numbers have gone like, and
I think the crazy thing about it is, if you compare them to Twitch numbers, they're definitely low, right? To what they were putting in Twitch. They're, in a lot of cases, 1/10 of those numbers. But if you look at them to that platform, they're like 5% or something of that platform. So they just brought over 5% of that platform's traffic. You know what I mean? So that's just a big thing to think about. Like, even though the numbers that we look at, because we deal with these numbers all day, right? Seeing like, yeah, Ninja's, averaging 100,000, blah, 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 playing Fortnite. Well, let's face it. Fortnite is even at too much of the top. Like, it's the smartest move for him to leave a game or to leave a platform while the iron is hot, because they're paying him on a game on the game that's, the popularity is not what it was a year ago. I mean, that's the reality of it. And so he's getting that money, but yet he still brought over that much traffic over to this platform. And that's the big thing, is now their platform essentially grew 5%, which is just drops in the bucket for Twitch. But that's a whole extra bucket for Mixer. And that's a huge step for them to kind of increase on their side of things.
And imagine if their viewer base grows at the same pace as Mixers, basically, for like 5 years from now, if still Shroud's viewer base is about like 5% of Mixers, it would be a lot higher.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that would be like astronomical.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for my deal. Anybody,
I'm telling
listening, hit me up. I'll take fucking a quickie, like, in the back alley. Like, I'll move.
I take only deals from caffeine.
Yeah.
Fuck caffeine. Like that. That sounds horrible.
Good old Joe, I'll come right up.
Caffeine is what I'm all about. That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
Horrible sight.
But the low latency.
Well,
Google needs to give him a call. Like,
magic.
is this the black magic you need to make the Stadia work? Because we want it.
For those who have no fucking idea what we're talking about, Caffeine is a streaming website, relatively new, owned by, done by like former Apple engineers. And their low latency mode is black magic level low latency. I mean, the instant I press enter, the streamer is already answering my fucking question. I shit you not. It is so fucking weird. I have never ever seen that low of a latency. Never ever. It's almost like when Stadia was talking about that bullshit negative latency. That's how fucking Caffeine works.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's gonna be negative latency. They're gonna answer the question before you ask it.
Yeah.
Like, because I was sitting in voice with Sully and Lurking and North and some other people, and we were all fucking amazed by it. Like you were typing some shit, and the instant you press enter, the enter key, the stream was already answering you. It's almost like they see when you type. It's that fucking fast. It's weird. Like I can't fucking explain it. I mean, but the site is shit. It is like it's complete horseshit.
Well, they're just going to develop this low latency thing, and then Twitch will end up buying them out, cutting them a check, and then you'll have your black magic low latency on Twitch.
That's what I also thought about. Like, yeah, like if they have some awesome tech, and the site, if it tanks, then fucking sell the tech.
Absolutely.
Love the Stadia.
I feel like they don't have like any encoding, and they just like raw pull it from the computer to the server and be like, yeah, that's low latency.
They literally have like a old telephone operator that's like plugging different wires in everywhere.
It's a weird site though. Weird fucking site. So yeah, a lot of stuff happened this year. I hope next year a lot of stuff will happen too. Who knows? But let's move on. Whoops. Well, let's talk about the OST of the year. Who goes first? I can go first. I have an OST of this year of a game that I haven't even played. But I watched the full playthrough. And the music is fucking excellent. It's Cadence of Hyrule.
That was also mine.
Well, shit.
Yeah. It's a really good one with Shovel Knight, King of Cards being second. Cadence Hyrule's dope.
It is. It's like legitimately. It's made by Danny B. I cannot pronounce his last name. He made also the music for Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Yes.
And he also made the music for the original Binding of Isaac. And he has also made some other games that I don't remember.
You got Family Jewels playing, like just shredding some guitar on the Cadence of Hyrule as well.
Is he?
Yeah,
I know he made an album with Danny B. Family Jewels is a YouTuber who plays the guitars.
Yeah, he usually doing covers of video game music. So you know what, Cadence of Hyrule's right up his alley, and it is dope.
It's real good. What about Joe?
My OST of the year is a game that I haven't played much of, although I keep wanting to. I just can't bring myself to do it. Kingdom Hearts 3. I have like a physical copy of that album, and I absolutely love it. I've listened to it. It's in my car right now. That's right. I listen to a CD in my car. And it's just good. I've loved all the original soundtracks from all the Kingdom Hearts games. I was a big Disney kid growing up. I watched all the old cartoons, so like the little remixes that they keep doing in those Disney worlds really hit that nostalgia button right on the head. So yeah, everything about the Kingdom Hearts remix is right up my alley, or the Kingdom Hearts OST is right up my alley.
I don't have one.
You don't have one? Okay. I'm gonna cheat a little bit because this game was released last December, like mid-December. But and it's also a game I haven't played, but I did watch Tom play it.
Is it Grease?
Yeah, it's great. and the you can't. It's hard to like say what the soundtrack is like because it's huge part of the game because it creates the atmosphere and it's just something more compared to like other games. Sometimes you have like crazy action going around and the music playing, blah, blah, that's awesome. But in this game, it is the game. It's sort of like the music is the game. I don't know how to like explain it. You have to like see it for yourself. But it shares so much emotion when you like watch the game go by. I didn't play it, so I don't know how it feels to like play, but it's very emotional and like powerful.
Gris is fucking excellent.
Yeah.
I like Gris won a ton of awards this year, like at the Game Awards, because it was released so late last year, so it wasn't considered into anything. Gris is one of the best indie games I've ever played. Like sweet Jesus, it is good. Also a very short game. But
I think that's what kept me from getting it was a very short game from what I remember, and it was like 30 bucks or something like that.
it
30 or
was
40
very
bucks.
expensive for its length. I do remember that. But it is a very, 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 very good game.
If you want to check out the OST, I think it's on Spotify by the artist name of Berlinist. I think the full OST should be there. Go check it out.
I think my OST is Hunt Showdown because it's the catchiest too.
That is actually very good. That's a good choice.
We haven't played Hunt in a while, and I want to play more Hunt. It's a good game.
Yeah. God damn it.
All right, let's move on to the biggie one. What is everybody's game of the year?
Game of the year. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Do it.
It was I was torn between two of them, and basically the deciding factor was that I beat one of them and I didn't beat the other. I was torn between Sekiro and Bloodstained, and I still have like 3 bosses left on Sekiro because I keep not playing it, even though I want to. It's just, I mean, you guys know how it is. There's like a million different things on your plate, and you just don't. So Bloodstained is my game of 2019. For a lot of similar reasons that I enjoyed Hollow Knight as much as I did. Bloodstained just did Metroidvania right, which makes sense considering the guy who made like the original Symphony of the Night directed this game. So it also has a pretty solid OST. It's got good gameplay, tight controls, good boss battles. The story could be better, but I think everything else makes up for that. The story's not bad by any means, but it's not like mind-blowingly good like some of the other stuff. But that was another one of those games that I played it during the week that I took off and streamed for 8 hours a day. And at the end of the 8 hours that I played that game, I was like, why didn't I just want to play more of this game. I just need to play more of this game. And it like I don't know. It's a really super solid game for sure.
It certainly is. Highly recommend it too. All right, Trevor.
So I honestly think that I would have chosen Sekiro, but I didn't. I was enjoying the game, playing it, but then I think I just got really busy with work and had to take like 2 weeks off from just gaming in general, and I just never picked it back up. So I don't want to choose that game just because I didn't get that far into it, so I can't have that as my main one. So I have to choose Borderlands 3 because I've been looking forward to it for 10 years. So it may not be like the best game out there in everyone's opinion, but it definitely filled that gun-shaped hole in my heart. I mean, what am I going to say about it? You shoot things and get better guns and shoot things.
Definitely not a bad game, but it couldn't live up to the immense hype that was behind it.
I will say this. I kind of quit playing it for a while because I kind of went to doing VR stuff and that kind of took over for a while. And I just now recently picked it back up. And it feels really good. Like, I was surprised when I picked it back up. I was just like, oh, it's just gonna be whatever. But when I started like shooting the guns, it felt like, those games when you feel the gun when you're shooting it. Like that's what I felt like, and it's a good game.
All right, Dan.
So I too am going to go with Bloodstain. I it was one of those things that I was so ridiculously hyped for it. You know, I I I did what is usually considered the oopsie, and I backed it back in like years ago. But I'm so glad that I did, for several reasons. One, I got the Curse of the Moon also, and I ended up with 4 copies of Curse of the Moon from backing it, um, due to, we'll just say, clerical error, and and so then I ended up with several copies on Steam of Ritual of the Night, and so and this here is actually a Switch copy that I never opened, and I'm just not going to. It also has like the like the art book thing in there. There's this bitchin' ass keychain, a Miriam sword thing. Like I bought into the hype, and it actually is one of the few things in my gaming experiences that actually delivered on the hype that I personally was wanting it to be. Now, is it a perfect game? No. There's a couple of design decisions that I think are pretty poor from a game design standpoint. Um, like basically locking progression behind a mob that has an RNG chance of actually allowing you to do that. Probably not the best choice. However, it didn't impact my gameplay or my game experience at all. And I mean, I even went through and, you know, just like we'll say Gratigo. Um I went through in that first week that it came out, I was in the same boat. I streamed it for 8 hours, and then I got done and I was like, shit, why is my family got to be home? Like I just want to play it some more. And I ended up like during that first week, I went through and I did like 100% of the archives, which was, getting all the drops in the game from every single mob. And like literally there's nothing in the game that I hadn't done. And I am super stoked for Zangetsu whenever that comes out, because that's gonna be dope.
It is definitely a good game. I highly recommend it. Well, North, tell about just
What do you want to hear? My game of the year?
yeah. Let's just say the name Sekiro.
Nah, it's actually Artifact. I'm just messing.
Oh,
Yeah, it's Sekiro, of course. I played the crap out of that game. I played it so much, and I gotta thank my my friendos who actually got the game for me. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed that game, and I feel like I got the same thing that what Trevor was saying about the Beat Saber. Like you just like once you like get into it, you feel the progression and you start like feeling good hitting those blocks. That was like what Sekiro is for me. It feels once you like get into it and you just zone out, it feels like a Dance Revolution game. You just see what you it doesn't show you the arrows, so you don't know what to do. You just have to look at the character and think which move is it gonna do next and what you have to do next. And once you get into that rhythm, it feels so good and satisfying every single time when you get like amazing combo and you have to like block every single one. And I played it, I think 9 times, and 8 times on the hard mode where you have to when you every time you block, you have to do like a perfect block. That means that you block at the exact moment the strike hits you, so you get the perfect block. Otherwise, you actually like lose health, regardless if you like hold block. So it's a lot harder, but it's a lot more satisfying. And I I I I feel like I mastered at one point, and then I stopped playing it, and I picked it up like 6 months after, and I tried playing it, and I was like still fairly good at the game, but not like so good as I was before, of course, because I lose muscle memory and stuff. But the progression is it's so weird because first you feel like you can't do anything, and when you're like at the top of your progression, you feel like the minions are the worst mobs in the game and the hardest mobs because they will just swarm you and kill you every single time. I can deal with the bosses, but the minions are the hardest part. And the story's great. The OSTs is great, but it gets boring because you die over and over again. You have to hear the same song over and over again. It gets a little bit boring, but I usually just listen to my own music. That's why I didn't have any other OST of the year because I don't really listen to my own music. But yeah, that that's a weird explanation why it's my game of the year.
So I hate Dark Souls games. I hate every single Dark Souls. They're all shit games. I've never played Bloodborne, but I've tried Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, and they're all shit. So, naturally, Sekiro is my game of the year. Because it is just so fucking wonderful. I fucking love not Dark Souls, but I love Sekiro. And I mean, I think this is like when I said I value game mechanics more than anything else. Sekiro is completely just game mechanics. It is you blocking. It's a quick time event game. That's how I would explain it, because you block strikes and then you strike back. It's a quick time event game, but it is so well executed. It is insane how much I enjoyed that game, and at the same time getting frustrated and hating myself for it, and then overcoming that weird part that I was doing, and excelling at the game. And once you grind a boss, the fucking bull boss was bullshit. I don't understand it to this fucking day how I. And then I looked up a video and it's like, you just do this shit, and I'm like, motherfucker. I do have to say though, there's a point in the game where you have to make a choice, and it is the most meaningful choice of the game, and it is actual choice. Like there's a huge fucking ass consequence that happens, and either the game, whatever choice you choose, either the game ends there or you have an additional fucking 8 hours of the game, depending on how much you die. I chose the longer path. I did not know what happens from either of them. I chose what I thought was right. And the final boss of that path, which I think many consider the real final boss of the game, if the game's difficulty goes here, once you reach the final boss, it takes a huge sharp turn here and goes to space. And the difficulty is like, where the fuck? Motherfucker, I grinded that asshole for like so fucking many hours, and I probably never raged at a game so hard and not stop play. And once I beat that boss, I never touched the game again. And I kind of want to. I kind of want to play Sekiro again, though. Definitely.
I think everyone should at least try playing it on hard mode, because it makes it so much harder and more frustrating. But at the same time, it forces you to like excel at that point.
I did not beat all the bosses in Sekiro, though. There is optional bosses that I did not beat. And obviously at the point when you have to choose the meaningful consequence, because I chose one path, all the other content from the other path I did not complete either. But yeah, it is. I'm firmly in the From Software masturbation boat right now, where where we praise the sun from dusk till dawn, and From Software can't do anything wrong ever. So
I'm not hearing anything wrong, Tom.
Yeah.
So far, I'm just hearing truths.
Yeah. So I'm definitely I'm hoping we'll see more of Elden Ring next year. And
I hope so too.
yeah. And that ties into the last topic of the day.
Woo!
I have to apologize. I meant to go back and look at the first episode and what we said last year for our hopes and dreams. But since we're kind of pressed for time and I did not do it, I don't care. I'm probably gonna do it for next episode though, so we can talk about it in January.
I remember what I said, and I also looked up what Trevor said.
I'm pretty sure I said
But-
Borderlands 3.
You said Borderlands.
Yeah, you did. But let's skip it for the next episode, just so that we don't go for like 4 hours. But oh shit, that's the wrong button. Uh-oh. I'm peddling so many fucking things here. Anyways, what is everyone's hopes and dreams for 2020? It can be anything gaming related, not a single game. It can be a system. It can be anything. Shit, anything.
I just wrote down what I put here. I just want good games.
That's a
I
solid
want
one.
good games.
That's a solid one. I love it.
Mine's basically the same, but just more specific. There's a lot of hype coming next year. There's a lot of hype coming down the
A lot
hype
of
pipe.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
If half of that hype is validated, I'll be a happy boy. That's
Me
all I
too.
want. I just want, like, even it's in most of it's even in like the first quarter of the year almost.
First 6 months gonna be insane.
Yeah. I just hope that not all of that hype is wasted. I hope that some of it is
Yep.
valid.
Yep. me
Yeah,
too.
no, I need 100% of the hype delivered. For next year.
Yeah. 100% or nothing.
Yeah, I want 100% or above. Like I want my hype to be like, oh man, I should have been even more hyped. Like that's how I want to go into 2021. Jesus Christ, it's time.
I don't know
But
about
yeah.
the rest of you guys, but I think this Dan dude, he's reasonable as shit.
Like that's the way 2020 is gonna go. Everybody gets everything that they want. It's basically I want Pedro to stand there on stage and say like that you need to vote for Napoleon because it's all everything, right? But I guess if I'm being specific, I have 3 real like hopes and dreams that I want to pan out. They are specific titles, and for the love of God, don't fuck them up. So, Final Fantasy VII remake. I mean, that's gotta be big. Like, I mean, I know you guys are sweating. Like,
We're so
like that is gonna be. I can't tell you how important that one is to not just me, but to everyone. I don't care if you played the original or not. That's
I
a
don't
big
care,
one.
Joe, if you hated the fucking original game. You will play the fucking remake, you little bitch.
I mean, that's true.
It's happening. Okay, number 2, Doom Eternal. I want Doom to be badass because I love me some mindless gore that I can just listen to some metal and slay the shit out of some demons sometimes. We all need that in our life. and that's just the way it's got to be. And then lastly, and I know you all agree with me here, and it's it better be amazing, is Cyberpunk. It's got these shoes, man. I don't even know how you could fit. I don't even know how you could fill these shoes because this thing has to be huge. And I'll tell you this, I'm not even a huge like I'd say the last like real steampunk game that really like kind of did it for me in that regard and that kind of that sci-fi sense like that was Shadowrun. Like something like that, right? I want Shadowrun that's a living, breathing world that lives up to this hype. And I mean, when you got Keanu Reeves, like, telling you how amazing you are, there's got to be some serious hype going on to this thing. And it sure as shit better deliver. But yeah, those are my 3. There's tons of other things and important things going on next year as far as gaming goes. And those ones don't even equal up to the 100% that these 3 need to be, and then some.
Seems
Yeah.
fair.
I mean, I mean, I work a lot and I have a comfortable life, and I'm not in poverty in any means, and I would say that I live pretty comfortably. But I'm scared. I'm scared of the first 6 months because Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, the amount of games that is coming out that I generally I don't get too hyped for games. If my levels were here, like normally, I don't care anymore. I need all the games. I need Ori 2. I need Final Fantasy 7 Remake. I need Last of Us. I need Doom Eternal. I need fucking Cyberpunk. Like Cyberpunk above everything else. I can't stress how much unreasonable hype I have for that game. I'm gonna be honest. Like I try to paint myself as a reasonable dude and the kind of guy who doesn't really get too hyped. My hype is unreasonable for Cyberpunk at this point. It possibly cannot deliver on all my fucking hopes and dreams. But I sure as shit will hope for them.
Dude, I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, you still have stuff like System Shock. Fuck, Animal Crossing looks dope. Like, I mean, like, there's literally nothing like that's been announced that's coming out in 2020. I'm just like, oh, okay, and I'll take it or leave it. Like, literally everything is so hype. Like, dude, we live in the best of times.
Yeah, I mean, shit. Like, I think generally this year has been like kind of okay in gaming. I legitimately believe that next year, if even fucking a quarter of the hype is delivered, it will be the biggest year in gaming ever. Honestly, like this. I mean, I might be fucking unreasonable again. I don't know. But it's like shit. Like I played the System Shock demo that was available for the Game Awards show, and it janky as shit. Very much pre-alpha, but I want to play more System Shock. I want that fucking remake to come out. I won't play Animal Crossing, but I know the people who love Animal Crossing are gonna fucking buy Animal Crossing.
Yeah, man. When I'm taking a shit, I need like some solid farm action going on. Like that's just
to get into the real mood.
Yeah, like I want to be able to smell the fertilizer.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Puts me in that mood. I mean, dude, you even got like Devolver Digital. They've got what is it, Carrion coming out this next year.
Like, yeah, I played the Carrion demo too, and honestly, it's gonna be a blind purchase for me.
Yeah, dude, it's. Oh, and what about this Phantasy Star Online 2? What? Like that was the reason to have a Dreamcast back in the day. Like, dude, there's too much going on.
Yeah.
Even like Ghost of Tsushima, which I wasn't that interested in. The latest trailer that they showed fucking sold me on Ghost of Tsushima. And the way they told in a recent interview that they're not going to have any sort of waypoints for the player. They're not going to hold the player's hand. They're not going to show where the player needs to go. They're going to have a true open world where you go where you want to go when the story unfolds. It's going to be the fucking Bethesda syndrome. You're going to have some sort of main quest where some old dude tells you like, oh, samurai-san, you should go to the castle and kill the king. And you're like, oh, fuck that shit. I'm going to go to all the villages and talk to these random-ass dudes over here. I'm hyped for fucking that game too.
Dude, Super Meat Boy forever. Like, come on. Dude, one of the original like super punishing platformers in the modern era to me. And it just, yeah, man, I don't know. I'm scared. My hopes and dreams are to not be scared.
Yeah, okay. I'll change mine too to that. My hopes and dreams are not to be scared and not to go bankrupt.
Yeah, I'm gonna need all these developers to live up to this hype and just hold me and get me through this. Like, I don't want to need counseling after 2020 is over. Well, at least not gaming related.
And even after everything is said and done next year, at the tail end, we're gonna get a new console generation.
Soulja Boy 2?
Yes.
The Xbox box.
I mean, I'm interested. We have very little information on the PS5 and some information on the next Xbox. I mean, it's a new generation, so I'm already like, I'm in. I'm 100%. I've already forgot about Stadia. Nobody gives a shit. I'm already, my sights are on the next year. Also, I predict that Stadia will be dead within the next 3 months.
next year I wanna hear Diablo Immortal release date.
Where the fuck's my
wanna hear
mobile
that.
game, Blizzard?
Yeah, it said that it was supposed to be released this year, but
I have a phone, motherfuckers.
I have a phone also.
Where the
And I
fuck's
wanna
my
see
game?
what is it about? And I don't buy into this hype. I believe it when I see it, and
What a fucking poser.
yeah, I don't believe it until it's done and ready out there.
Yeah, I
So-
scratched my 2020.
Yeah,
My hopes
so
and
I
dreams.
rather I hope for good updates for current games. That's what I hope for, and that's what I dream of.
He just
Good
needs Tarkov.
updates for Civ 6. Finally fix the fucking Tarkov. Have like 144 FPS like sometimes. And I don't know. See, I've been playing Siege, so I want to see good new operators. Something. Give me new maps or something. I just want new updates for the games that I currently have.
Fair enough.
Mm.
I hope for 2020 that you believe and that you end up buying into the hype and it pans out and you become a believer.
North is just gonna
2020.
live like he's gonna live through the games vicariously through me when I stream them.
Yeah,
Yep.
you need to be giddy because what if it's not good and you're going to be watching him stream it. So, I mean, it's got to be good.
I never play bad games.
Yeah, none of us do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I exclusively play good games. That's why I have so many NES games just for the
I was
cover art.
I was like, I literally played Dr. and Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Wayne's World on SNES today. So I'm
Hurts my fucking soul. All right. We've been on for way too long. Nobody wants to listen to us this long.
It's true. I wouldn't want to listen to me this long.
Yeah. Fuck me, am I right?
I'm just glad I don't have to hear myself.
Also, I want to point out that if they still are gonna consider renaming the next generation Xbox, I'm looking forward to Tommy eating his, was it socks or hat? I don't recall. After
Probably
they
both.
named the new Xbox the Xbox box.
It
Because
ma-
you
it
said you
makes
were
this-
gonna eat your hat
yeah.
or socks.
It makes sense though. Xbox
Yeah.
boxes. It's just a natural evolution of
Mhm.
the weird. I mean, for real though, the latest I heard of what they're gonna call the Xbox is just Xbox. So when people talk about the Xbox, you have to ask of them, do you mean the original Xbox or the newest Xbox? And then when the next generation comes out, you're gonna have to say, do you mean the original Xbox or the 2020 Xbox?
I want that triple X box. What you got there?
And also shaped like a box, so it's a box.
I mean,
Yeah.
they had to fuck it up. They couldn't do what Sony does with a consistent numbering system that is easy to follow. Because fuck that noise, I guess. Microsoft, Xbox Game Pass though, real cool. Highly recommend Xbox Game Pass.
Well, see, but now they can't. Now they can't like go back and do numbers.
Yeah,
though.
not anymore because they already
Yeah.
fucked it.
Yeah, so now they've got to come up with this like weird ass shit like
Yeah, I mean,
Xbox
well,
Utopia.
they're gonna like, it's gonna be a remake of the original Xbox. They're just gonna call it Xbox. It's the remade series. That's what it's called, Series X or whatever. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. This has been the last episode of this year, our 1 year episode. We've been doing this for 1 year. Insane. I want to thank Dan Cardiff for being here today. He graciously said immediately, "Yes, Tom, I will be on your stupid ass podcast if you pay me $100." And I'm like, "I'll pay you 200 because I'm that kind of guy." And then I
Hell
ended up
yeah.
paying nothing because I'm a thief and a scammer. No, but I want to
Don't
thank
know
Dan
yet.
for being here. No.
Yeah, no, yeah. Thank you very much for being here. It was really fun.
And next year, we have some big ass plans that I'm not gonna unveil yet. I'm gonna leave you with a cliffhanger because I hate it when people do it to me, and that's why I'm gonna do it to everybody else. Luckily, though, the people on the podcast, minus Dan, know what the big ass plans are, and they will be unveiled in due time. Mostly when we get our shit together. So, yeah. Any last words?
I want to say happy holidays to everyone.
Oh yeah, shit. I don't celebrate holidays, so
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, and whatever the else fuck you fuckers celebrate. Merry Christmas.
Hopefully it'll be another good year.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Year of hype.
That's what it's gonna be.
It is going to be the unreasonable hype.
Yeah, the year of unreasonable hype.
So yeah, I will probably do one last stream on this channel this year at some point. The rest of the everybody on No Pants has stopped streaming. But Dan streams every day. Twitch.tv/Dan Carnet. He streams, so you can go follow his channel and watch some content because we're just lazy bums. Gorby, you're not on the fucking call, are you? Gorbish also streams twitch.tv/Gorbish. He just launched his new podcast called No Pants on the Couch. You should go not subscribe to his channel, but follow his channel so you can watch that content. But the rest of us, we may or may not stream ever again. Who knows?
Ooh.
Bum, bum, bum.
But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you next year. Bye.
All right, thanks, bye.